It's the gene injection ceremony for high schoolers. Each student is injected with a special serum containing the primal genes from every magical beast ever recorded. After the shot, the students will absorb a random gene and transform into beasts. The professor advises them to stay calm and embrace the power surge instead of freaking out. Everyone is overwhelmed by their newfound powers and barely holding it together. But when Yehi injects himself, nothing happens. Even the professor suspects a faulty injection. One girl immediately bursts out laughing at our main guy, but just as she moves closer to mock him, something strange stirs within Yehi. He doesn't get just one gene. He receives an infinite monster template that lets him acquire all beast abilities and traits. His body instantly floods with energy and overwhelming strength. His pesky classmate is slammed backwards several meters, and the rest of the students can't stay on their feet. Everyone's shocked at this power flip because they all thought he was the ultimate loser, and now they're practically groveling at his feet. Right then, an announcement blasts over the loudspeaker. All awakened students must report to the testing building immediately. It's time to analyze their magical beast genes and martial arts levels. The machines inside will reveal the true power of each student. One by one, the students get their results. Shinwon awakens a third-tier bloodline called Swift Spine Bug, giving him speed and strength, which pushes him up to the top of the class. Next, Shu steps forward and awakens the rare Ice Demon Dragon, a top-tier bloodline. The teachers instantly recognize him as the class star and a likely future champion. Then, Miss Lu is called. She awakens a Stage 4 Nether Sparrow bloodline, powerful enough to obliterate a city. Only Grandmasters could stand against something that's strong. Meanwhile, Yehi checks his own awakening details again. He notices his beast is ranked with a letter grade, while the others show Stage 3 or Stage 4 ranks. Something seems off. Finally, his name is called. While everyone waits for something big from our guy, he steps into the testing chamber. Inside, a heavy pressure rolls off Yehi. The other students feel it right away and start whispering. They think he's about to break through to the next stage. But when the results pop up on the machine, confusion spreads. Most of Yehi's data is hidden. Only basic info is visible. His beast bloodline displays as unknown. His martial level is just Stage 3 martial disciple rank. Murmurs ripple through the room. Of course, students start laughing, mocking his weak result. Some call him useless, while others scoff at the unknown beast tag, saying it proves he's just an average failure. Looks like Yehi understands the deal. His system doesn't work like the others. The testing machine can't identify the infinite monster template he holds because it ignores stages or bloodline tiers. He can upgrade this template endlessly through quests or gaining reputation. This is totally outside any standard classification, which makes Yehi smile. Since his power isn't weak, it's just unique. Once the right conditions hit, he can pull monster templates without limit, meaning endless growth. If he plays it right, he can soar above all and become the king of monsters. A few days later, Yehi asks to study from home. His teacher frowns, clearly doubtful. The teacher assumes Yehi just wants to slack off, but Yehi argues he wants to get stronger and finally do better. He admits he's way behind the others, so he needs extra time and focused training to catch up. The teacher warns him, even with awakened powers, he won't pass the entrance exam without solid fundamentals. He suggests repeating the year and trying again next time. Instead of giving up, Yehi stands his ground. With bright eyes, he begs for the chance and swears his bloodline gives him what he needs to push through. All he wants is the opportunity to prove it. Eventually, the boy's sincerity breaks through the doubt. The old man agrees, but warns Yehi not to get his hopes too high. Yehi leaves school and heads straight to the Anchong Warrior Center. As he walks, he reveals he started with over 1 million in funds after the accident. The insurance money combined with a mortgage on his family home gave him the funds he needed. Now, he has two clear choices. Train hard like a warrior or figure out how to boost his match with the Diora template. That's when something catches his eye. The system indicates the Diora template has 3 compatibility points, which is 2 points higher than the standard template. This little detail grabs his attention. After thinking it through, he comes to one conclusion. The gene serum he took earlier must have been the cause. Somehow, it enhanced his template and granted an extra 2 compatibility points. This changes the game completely. If serums can improve his template fit, then focusing on collecting serums might be more efficient than warrior-style training. This route is quicker, cleaner, and a much better fit for someone with an infinite monster template. Fired up by this realization, Yi heads inside the facility to buy a gene enhancement serum. He scans his student ID at the entrance and steps in. Right away, something catches his attention. The room is packed with seriously tough people. Each one is surrounded by a dark, heavy aura, a reflection of the beasts they've merged with. These are awakened warriors. And yes, he can feel it. Every single one has already unlocked their bloodline. Since awakening the Mad Flame Demora template, Yehi's gained a unique skill called the Life Magnetic Field. It's a power from Demora that lets him sense living beings and detect the energy flowing inside them. Now, Yi can clearly feel the heat and pressure radiating from every awakened warrior nearby. His blood starts to boil. Mad Flame Demora is the king of beasts. So naturally, this guy also carries that unstoppable hunger to beat every challenger in sight and rule the world. Even though Yi knows he's still pretty weak, this instinct runs too deep to ignore. One day, he's determined to stand above them all. When that day comes, the world will finally witness the true power of the king of beasts. Suddenly, someone taps him on the shoulder, catching him off guard. A stylish woman stands behind him, teasingly advising him not to stare so blatantly at people. Yi quickly apologizes, and she waves it off. She explains it's normal for new awakeners to lose control of their impulses at first. He asks if she can help locate the gene medicine. She confirms, but adds that while gene medicine works, it's pricey. Even worse, the body builds resistance over time, which makes future doses less effective. Her advice is clear. Only use them when you hit a dead end and regular training stops showing progress. Yi asks how much it costs. She says that at his current level, only beginner potions are effective, and each costs around 400,000 yen. That number hits him hard. Even with all he has, he can't afford 5 doses. He tries bargaining for a discount, but the woman laughs and hands him a business card instead. As a seasoned warrior, she tells him he can get a referral discount by mentioning her name. Yi waves goodbye, grinning as he thanks her. She smiles back, wishing him luck. Nearby, someone watches silently, their glowing blue eyes locked on Yi, ready for what's coming next. First, he collects all the money he has left. Then, he heads to the warrior's weapon shop. The prices are sky high, but it's not like he has many options. After a long day of spending, he finally injects himself with all the serums he bought. As the effects kick in, his stats start soaring. Value after value climbs higher and higher. The mutation pushes his body to its limits. Every muscle feels like it's on fire. Still, he's finally leveled up a thought that fills him with great joy. For the first time, he truly believes he can ace the college entrance exam. Even with his cheat-like abilities, none of it means much if he can't surpass the real geniuses out there. To climb the ranks further, he sets his sights on secret realms. These mysterious zones are ranked by danger, from E-class all the way up to the catastrophic S-class. The S-class realms are home to beasts so deadly that if they got loose, the world wouldn't survive. Today, Yi arrives at Anshing number 3, an E-level secret realm meant for rookies. He goes to the counter, books his entry, and signs the usual death waiver. Moments later, he stands right in front of the realm's glowing portal, locking in his ambition. He's going to become the king of beasts. With that resolve, he charges headfirst into the rift, plunging into the pulsing energy. On the other side, Yi lands like a hero. The realm stretches out endlessly ahead, spread across the star systems of Kanglin, Anwei, and Taiyin. He's read about places like this before, but seeing it firsthand is on a whole different level. Absolutely stunning. While he's taking in the view, a red creature spies on him from behind. It's a blade-fanged rabbit crouched low in the grass. When it leaps at him, Ye doesn't even blink. He catches it midair with one hand and slams it down. The guy totally sensed the attack before it even started. That's all thanks to his life magnetic field, Demora's special sensory skill. Crushing it quickly seals the deal. He examines the rabbit's magic core he just grabbed and estimates it to be worth around 1,000 watts. Just a few seconds of work and he's already earned more than some folks make in an entire week. Still, he knows this kind of pace won't cut it long term. Low-level cores won't do the trick. Time to hunt something tougher. Suddenly, a huge figure blocks Yi's path. It's a second-ranked demon corpse bug, the exact enemy he came to take down. Gripping his blade, he steels himself for battle. Drawing on memory, he recalls details from the monster encyclopedia and aims for the beast's weak spot, its soft belly. The demon corpse bug fights back, firing a swirling energy blast. Yiho gathers his power, charging up a wave of martial energy. He fires a full-strength hyper beam straight at the monster. Before the dust settles, another creature pops out from the shadows. This one spits spinning purple projectiles from its mouth. Iho's eyes widen as he realizes its mandibles are built for ranged attacks. One projectile slams into him, sending him flying backward. He grits his teeth, annoyed by the damage and the torn-up outfit. His martial skills obviously aren't strong enough to handle this level of beast. He blames the original body's weak foundation both academically and martial-wise for holding him back at critical moments like this. With no choice left, he activates the Mad Flame Demora bloodline, Emperor Demon. His body bursts with energy as his strength jumps from 15 to 21. Power floods his limbs while the demon bug roars in fury, ready to charge again. The monster lunges forward with wide-open jaws. Yahad ducks low, claws glowing as he lunges at his foe. Striking with beast-like force, He takes down the second-tier demon corpse bug in a single clean move. Still radiating heat, Yeha inspects the damage. The venom is already eating away at his weapon. He mutters under his breath about how the sword's basically a scam, irritated by its poor durability. Suddenly, hunger tightens his stomach. Conveniently, he catches a tempting scent in the air. Yeha turns toward it, eyes locking on a green-grade magic core, giving off an unexpectedly rich aroma. It's from the monster he just defeated. Despite the risks, he decides to consume the stone. Right after swallowing it, energy surges inside him, spreading through his limbs. The system flashes an update. His compatibility with the Mad Flame Demora template has slightly improved. Turns out, even cheap magic cores boost compatibility more efficiently than pricey potions. This core delivered results comparable to what he'd get from downing 4 wallet-busting serums. He can't believe how much cash he wasted on pay-to-win gene potions. That's when Yehi makes a call he'll hunt all night to make up for it. Activating his life magnetic field, he sends out a pulse to scan the area and locks onto nearby targets. By the next afternoon, his compatibility hits 9%. His physical stats climb to 15.8. With white-grade cores no longer enhancing him, he decides to stop using them and sell the leftovers. When he dumps all the cores on the reception counter, the clerk's mind is blown. A high schooler turning in this many cores? That's insane. Following protocol, Yeha earns 200,000 credits from the sale. 9 days remain until the college entrance exam. In Unchang, a D-class secret realm opens to the public. A small team gears up to enter, aiming for the blood jade flower tied to a high-paying bounty mission, but they're one member short. Old Chen's recent injury leaves them incomplete. But Linhee, one of the guys, promises he's already contacted an agency, and a replacement martial artist is ready to step in. That martial artist is Yi Hai. Now, undercover, he confirms his fake identity, Dadzla, a level 9 martial disciple. Apparently, he spent 100,000 credits at an illegal agency to get fake credentials just to sneak onto the mission. So naturally, everyone's a bit puzzled when they hear his name. Yeha just shrugs and says it's a copyright-safe version. Lenny sizes him up and warns that he better not slow the team down. His level's pretty low, and they don't need extra risk. Still, they let him join as long as he sticks to observing quietly. Our guy's ready to follow orders without a fuss. Soon, the group drives their vehicle right through the shimmering portal into the secret realm, all aiming to reach the blood jade flower. Their destination is an oasis where the blood jade flower grows. But standing guard is a powerful Tier 2 monster with a rare elite bloodline. Meanwhile, Yeha scans the landscape. Unlike the lush rainforest from his last visit, this place is just endless open desert. Suddenly, a swarm of earth demon rats bursts out of the sand and starts chasing them. The captain yells for Hood to take care of them, no hesitation. Without a word, Hood grips his blades. As the rats close in, he unleashes a flurry of huge bladed weapons, slicing through the pack with deadly precision. One by one, the rats are shredded while running, turning into dust as the vehicle speeds ahead across the desert. Once the fight's over, Hood calmly confirms the threat's neutralized. Hee-Ho watches silently, impressed by just how quick and ruthless Hood fights. In the distance, the vast desert stretches beneath a sky dotted with glowing planets. At its center lies a green oasis, surely where the blood jade flower blooms. The team sets off on foot beneath the scorching sky. Ahao wonders why they aren't just driving to cover more ground. Linhee explains the reason plainly. If they get any closer by vehicle, the engine noise would attract nearby monsters. From here on, they have to move quietly. They also assign roles while moving. Xiaowa handles the stun grenades, Wu and Hood set traps, Old Lu covers with gunfire, and Linhee leads the frontline assault. As for Yi-Hee, he's told to hang back and observe. Our guy quietly agrees, keeping it simple. Finally, their plan kicks off. The stun grenade detonates, releasing a cloud of pheromones that lure monsters in. A roar replies as a powerful Tier 2 Earth dragon charges from the smoke. Linhee slashes with her sword, hitting the dragon hard. The beast crashes, headless, and the team cheers Linhee's win. With the path clear, he decides to push forward immediately. But suddenly, the Earth dragon's claw crashes down from above. Just before disaster, our guy jumps into action, delivering a powerful energy punch right into the dragon's body. The hit shakes the ground with explosive force. Everyone is stunned, hard to believe a martial novice just slammed a Tier 2 monster into the dirt with one strike. They celebrate and praise the champion, but our guy brushes it off coolly like it's no big deal. Linhee holds up the dragon's core, confirming their win. The team gathers, talking about the red soul essence they harvested from the beast. Its power and worth amaze them all. The captain thanks everyone for defeating the Earth Dragon and securing its blood. But before anyone can respond, a sharp blade pierces the captain's back, its Hood, backstabbing them. The team freezes in shock as Linhee turns, pain in his eyes, drawing his sword and demanding why Hood betrayed them. Then a massive figure steps forward, bald, with a skull belt and thick fur collar. It's obvious to Yi's team this is Hong, the dungeon thief who preys on martial artists' loot. Suddenly, Lenny staggers, his stab wound is poisoned. He growls through clenched teeth, asking how even the bald guy knew about the secret dungeon. That's when Yeha connects the dots. Hidden data was embedded in the blades Hood used to kill those hounds, clearly planted to spy. Seeing how sharp our guy is, Hood sneers and mocks him, telling him to stop chasing death and go back to school. But our guy stays cool and says he aims to take first place in the upcoming exam. The jerk throws the same poison-tipped daggers again, but our guy catches them barehanded and burns them off with his blue aura. Seeing this, Hoping's interest in our guy is definitely peaking. Meanwhile, Hood flips out and hurls a flurry of daggers at his opponent. Yeha fires back with a surge of fiery energy, fully unleashing his power. Suddenly, Hood vanishes and reappears right behind our guy, aiming to finish him off with a brutal move called Mountain Splitter. But Yeha counters with crackling electric energy and shoots a piercing bolt straight through Hood's heart. Seeing Hood drop with just one hit leaves Captain Lenny and the others totally stunned. This guy, who's supposed to be a rookie, just took out Hood in a single strike. While my dude calmly farms aura as his foe falls, Huang is visibly trembling. Huang demands to know which powerful family Yeha hails from. No doubt about it, he recognizes the gene technique instantly. Yeha casually replies that he's from the Diener clan, tossing in a sharp jab about Huang's mounting desperation. The enemy roars back, shedding his human form with dominance. He triggers his bloodline transformation, revealing the terrifying tyrant beast Black Bear. His muscles bulge as his body morphs into a massive monster. Charging forward with the martial technique Peak Shaker, he lunges. Iho strikes first, targeting his legs low. The hit lands hard, but Ho Pong counters with a spinning punch. His huge paw crushes the ground, sending debris flying everywhere. Instead of messing around, my guy decides it's time to end this. He focuses all his power into one single strike, Corfu's mountain-crushing fist. This move unleashes a storm of powerful blows, hammering his enemy until the bastard can't even stand to fight anymore. His teammates watch from afar, struggling to wrap their heads around what just happened. The so-called martial arts rookie just took down a powerhouse. The wounded fiend gurgles out a final curse. He calls Yeha's gene technique dishonorable and swears he'll get revenge one day. Yeha doesn't waste words. The blazing blue fist he throws is enough to silence this guy for good. The scene then switches to An City's central stadium, where a huge martial arts tournament is kicking off. Cheers erupt from every corner as flags wave and lights flash. This year's entrance exam is a knockout competition. Students face off in pairs, and only those who win 3 straight matches in the audition rounds will make it to the finals. Waiting at the top is the prestigious highest score title. From the broadcast booth, the announcer pumps up the crowd, reminding everyone these students represent humanity's future survival. Each punch they throw carries more than just personal dreams. The intense entrance exams heat up fully as fights explode throughout the stadium. In Arena 1, bursts of battle energy meet precise strikes as students give their all. Over in Arena 4, another fierce duel rages on without any signs of slowing down. Attention then shifts to Arena 6. There, a lone competitor stands on the platform. Her name is Hang, waiting for her opponent. The commentator fills in the audience, noting that although Huang is here, her opponent Yeha from Anqing Middle School hasn't shown up yet. With no sign of him, the match might end in a forfeit. Meanwhile, the woman stares ahead, fired up after reliving past humiliation. She's trained hard for this moment, hoping to claim revenge alongside her fierce fire lizard. But once again, the one person she wanted to face doesn't even bother to show. Meanwhile, students and fans mock Yeha, calling him a coward for no showing. The referee raises his hand, ready to call the forfeit. Suddenly, everyone notices the sky shifting. A streak of blue light slices through the clouds. It's our guy, crashing down from the sky like a meteor, hitting the arena floor with a massive boom. The ground quakes as dust and debris scatter everywhere. Huang flinches, thrown off balance by the blast. She can barely process what's happening. From inside the smoke, Yeha leaps into action, driving his foot hard into Hang's face with overwhelming force. That single kick lifts her off the ground, sending her flying across the platform. After knocking her down, my guy casually farms some extra aura. Hang lies defeated on the floor as the announcer declares Yeha the winner. The crowd bursts into cheers, hyped up by his strength and applauding the legendary sky kick that sealed the deal. Also, our guy's power comes from the blood jade fruit he received from the captain after saving them all back then. As predicted, the tournament bracket updates, showing Yeha moving on to the next round, where he's set to face Long Tao. But once again, this dude takes down Long Tao from Unchango 4 Middle School with a fierce blue energy strike. In the next round, Yeha knocks out yet another opponent from a different middle school, scoring another solid win. The crowd goes wild over his back-to-back victories, shouting that he's become a one-kick Superman thanks to that unstoppable streak. With 3 wins under his belt, Yeeha breezes through the audition phase and advances to the 3rd round of the tournament. Right away, university scouts swarm around him. Each one tries to recruit him, showering him with compliments and promises of scholarships. Surrounded by officials and reps, Yeeha calmly repeats the question they keep throwing at him and gives his answer. He states clearly that he plans to enroll at Hwadu University. Some nearby voices question his choice, cautioning him not to get too cocky. Hwadu is one of the top martial arts universities, and getting accepted isn't a walk in the park, but our guy is clearly determined to prove them wrong and snag first place purely by strength. Not long after, officials step up and request a reevaluation of his martial arts rank. Of course, the results blow everyone's minds. Yeeha's cultivation level has leaped from 3rd stage to 9th in just half a month. He spins the story that he trained inside a perilous secret realm, pushed by his father's parting words. The news leaves the crowd in total shock. Word spreads fast that Yeeha has already shattered his genetic limits. The officials rush off to report the news right away. Meanwhile, Yeeha isn't loving all this extra attention. While other students gear up for their matches with cheers from family, Yeeha stands alone, quietly reflecting, realizing no one's there to back him up. No parents, no friends in the crowd. That reality sinks in. He's truly on his own, but it seems like he's wrong. His teacher watches the match broadcast and offers a subtle cheer towards Yeeha. Yeeha steps into the arena oozing confidence for his next promotion fight. His opponent is Luo, a solid fighter with elite bloodline and powerful lineage. The jerk mocks Yeeha the moment they face off, but our guy stays cool as a cucumber. He knows this fight will be decided by strength, not smack talk. When the match kicks off, Luo awakens his bloodline and unleashes a martial technique dashing lightning claw. He charges forward with speed and raw force, reaching to grab Yeeha's face with his creepy claw. Yeeha doesn't budge. He just lazily raises a hand to stop the attack. He mocks the weak power behind the strike, then twists Luo's arm until the guy yells out in pain as his hand is crushed without effort. Yeeha lifts him in the air and slams him hard into the ground. The impact is so fierce it wrecks the floor. And once again, the announcer shouts, Yeeha wins. Even the host is stunned. Luo was one of the tournament favorites, and he didn't land a single hit. Online, fans blow up with excitement. They praise Yeeha's calm coolness and unbeatable power, calling him a true master. In the stands, the crowd cheers for the one kickman and names him a sure-shot finalist. As Luo is carried off on a stretcher, a new rival eyes Yeeha from across the arena. That challenger watches Yeeha with respect and quietly vows to face him in the final. Meanwhile, at Hwadu University, the admissions office takes note and orders a full background check on Yeeha's record. Back in the neighboring arenas, the second group of candidates continue moving on to the next round. Xiaoling, known as the Queen of Anning's second senior high, steps into the spotlight. Facing her is Liu Qingju, the quiet, graceful figure known as the unattainable flower. Their rivalry is famous, and the crowd leans in as the match gets ready to start. The referee blows the whistle. Xiaoling charges forward without hesitation, tossing out a taunt as she closes the gap. Liu doesn't react. Instead, she activates a powerful secret martial art. A massive wave of energy bursts from her palm, blasting straight at her opponent. The impact lifts Xiaoling off her feet and sends her flying through the air, but she quickly bounces back and counters with her signature move, the Howling Gale Step. Leo drops her guard and shifts her stance just enough to adjust. She summons a swirling vortex of energy, trapping her opponent's hand in the air current. To finish Xiaoling off, she unleashes a strike with her powerful primordial chaos finger technique. The announcer gasps in surprise, declaring that Liu Qing has mastered a top-tier martial skill, something only a handful of students ever achieve. Xiaoling reacts instantly, activating her awakening transformation. The Shadow Claw Tiger King bursts forth from her bloodline. With its help, she creates distance between herself and her opponent. Now that she's revealed her trump card, she demands Liu Qing reveal her true bloodline, Nether Phoenix. Liu Qing doesn't flinch and boldly states she can easily beat Xiaoling without even using her Nether Phoenix power. Of course, that feels like an insult to the Tiger Girl. Her fury ignites as she pushes to unleash her full strength. Liu Qing matches her, activating the Liu family's secret technique. The battle kicks up. Xiaoling delivers a savage tiger's crippling kick, channeling all her might into one strike. Liu responds with a radiant burst from her primordial chaos jade finger. The two forces collide, sparking energy crackling through the air. The crowd watches, unable to tell who's winning. As the chaos calms, Xiaoling stands alone in the dust, looking like the victor. But something's off. A sudden wave of pressure crashes down on her. Before she can react, her legs buckle and she collapses from exhaustion. Meanwhile, Liu Qing stays upright. The referee steps in and announces Liu Qing as the winner. Online viewers explode in disbelief as the news spreads. Liu Qing has awakened a rare, 4th-tier Nether Phoenix bloodline. With the fights narrowing down, the tournament gears up for the top 8 advancement draw. Yiho steps up and draws slot A for the next round. His opponent is revealed moments later. Shen from Qingfeng Private High draws into Group A as well. Since they're facing off in the second round, Shen suggests sticking around to watch the first match. In the arena, Luo lies on the ground, clearly overwhelmed by his opponent. His energy control is sharp, precise, perfect for high-tier battles. Yiho watches carefully, realizing the mysterious winner is actually his teammate, Chu Zhou. The Qingfeng principal fumes over his school's representative falling in the very first top 8 match. Yiho turns to Shen and asks how he stacks up against Luo. Shen replies confidently, saying he's president of the martial arts club and that even 2 teammates together couldn't beat him. He admits Yiho is his only serious threat this year. Shen describes Yiho like a sleeping volcano, hiding a terrifying beast beneath the surface. With no time to waste, Shen signals it's their turn. The second match of the top 8 advancement tournament begins. Yiho steps onto the battlefield to face Shen. The announcer calls the start of the round. Right away, the two clash, their energies bursting with equal force. The crowd holds their breath, watching the explosive exchange. My guy isn't holding back, he's even managed to draw blood from this guy's nose. Shen decides to get serious and surrounds himself with a solid martial energy shield. Yiho stays focused, recognizing Shen's power and preparing for what's next. His opponent finally makes his move, activating his clan's dragon martial art and summoning a blazing beast. The creature charges forward as Shen unleashes a devastating attack. There's no time for Yiho to react. He's struck in midair by a powerful blow, coughing up blood as the force drives him back. The impact shakes the whole arena. That jerk grabs Ihi again and launches a relentless assault on the poor guy. After this brutal attack, the bastard is clearly enjoying himself. Emergency medics rush to the stage, bracing for the worst after Shen's continuous onslaught. But then the atmosphere shifts, and something stirs deep within the battlefield. A massive wave of blue energy bursts from Yehei, shaking the arena at its core. My guy's almost transformed into his monster form, wrapped in lightning and scales. His bloodline transformation is complete. The commentator is completely blown away because a full beast transformation in a high schooler is almost unheard of. The transformed fighter steps forward, radiating a powerful and intense presence, power buzzing from every pore. Meanwhile, an elder examiner watches closely and notices something else. Yei's core energy is skyrocketing. A protective barrier snaps into place instantly, triggered to contain the wild burst of core energy radiating from his body. The crowd is absolutely loving every second of it. Yiha's bloodline awakening is something no one has ever witnessed before. He smirks proudly in his awakened beast form, fully aware that no one on this planet has any clue what he's transformed into. Across the arena, Shen starts bleeding again. The immense pressure from Yihi's energy is too much, and Shen's body can't hold it in any longer. In response, he also transforms. His beast form bursts into view, glowing with golden energy that seems to ignite the very air around him. Both challengers gear up to unleash their ultimate martial arts moves. Our guy strikes first, obliterating his opponent's hand in a massive blast. The winner here is obvious, and our boy makes sure his opponent knows it by now. Shen starts to realize that Yihi's strength has spiraled out of control since his transformation. Without hesitation, our guy dives back in, launching a rapid flurry of attacks, hammering Shen relentlessly. The two fighters continue their fierce battle, with Shen giving everything he's got to gain the upper hand. Yet, at some point, Shen understands deep down that he doesn't stand a chance against this beast of a fighter. Before Yihi delivers the final blow, Shen surrenders. Yiha is crushed. The fight ended before it even truly began. Still, Yiha is officially declared the winner. Online, reactions come flooding in instantly. Fans joke that our guy didn't even break a sweat, and his opponent quit like a whimpering pup. Highlights of the fight spread across every platform, and social media explodes with praise. Meanwhile, the principal is boiling mad over Shen's surrender. He threatens to cut all support unless Shen pays back what he owes. But Shen silences him with a simple gesture. Clutching his shoulder, Shen calmly explains he surrendered to avoid permanent injury. He warns the principal that strength isn't something you control through threats. The principal falls silent for a moment, then quietly nods, clearly rattled by the quiet intimidation. The top 4 tournament finalists are finally announced, with Yihi's school dominating the list, snagging 3 of the 4 spots. Their principal can hardly contain his excitement, already picturing Yihi's teacher getting a promotion for cultivating such outstanding students. Meanwhile, Yeo steps forward to draw his next match. Once again, it's Group A. Opposite him, a powerful girl steps up and draws the same group. With that, the semifinal match is set. Yiha versus Liu Qing. The arena erupts with energy as fans shout in anticipation of what promises to be the most intense battle yet. Liu Qing wields divine phoenix powers with ease. She'd previously crushed a top-tier bloodline user, clearly showing her overwhelming strength. Fans also worship Yi's Thunder Beast abilities. At the semifinal stage, once both fighters step forward, the referee signals the start. Our guy takes charge and kicks things off. Watching his display of power, Liu Qing remains calm and collected. All she hopes for is that he's strong enough to really challenge her limits. The commentator is struggling to keep up due to swirling dust, fumbling to describe the action. Let's cut to our guy's inner thoughts instead. He quickly realizes she's not just powerful. Her battle instincts and tactical mind are way beyond most opponents he's faced. Knowing the risk of prolonging the fight, he moves first. His body blazes with fiery energy as he charges in full force. Liu Qing surrounds herself with swirling energy, ready to counter as Ye closes in. At the last second, he spins into a sweeping strike, aiming to catch her off guard. She reacts fast, blocking just in time, but the attack clearly startled her. Our guy leaps forward again, channeling his energy into a direct punch aimed straight at Liu Qing. Clearly, he's not letting her breathe, never giving her a chance to launch a counterattack or retreat, completely overwhelming her. After this intense back and forth, she decides to go all out. She activates her bloodline, awakening the fierce power of the Netherbird. Her eyes blaze with intensity as she warns Yihi that she might not be able to keep her strength in check at this level. Yiha isn't fazed. That's exactly what he wanted to hear. He explains that up until now, he's only been using half his power and is ready to go all out. Liu charges at him full speed, releasing a brutal strike. Yiho roars, energy, coursing through his limbs as he counters with explosive strength. Their hits collide, sending a shockwave rippling through the arena. The crowd shields their eyes from the expanding blast. Meanwhile, the girl stands in total disbelief at the overwhelming force surrounding our boy. After steadying himself, Yi fires a focused energy beam from his mouth, slicing across the arena in a straight, unstoppable line. Liu braces herself for the counterattack. When the beam hits her, she deflects it with her enchanted feather. The energy disperses across the arena, some heading toward the spectators, but a protective barrier absorbs the impact before it can reach the crowd. It turns out the mayor of An City, Huang Qing, conjured that shield. Watching this explosive fight, he declares the strongest guardian An City has ever seen is being born today. On the battlefield, blood drips to the ground. It belongs to Liu Qing, who remains standing, despite her injuries. At this point, she realizes she can't beat him. Yihi's single attack broke through her toughest defense. The burden she's carried since childhood hits her all at once. Memories of her struggle flood back, the strict expectations and her family's legacy weighing on her. Her ancestors had set all their hopes on her. Her mother's cold voice echoes in her mind, reminding her that winning wasn't optional. That was the only path ever offered to her. Meanwhile, Yiho stands undefeated. Liu Qing can't accept her loss. With her last bit of energy, she charges forward in a final surge, giving everything she's got, but he stops her cleanly, catching her attack midair. He clenches his fist again and slams her into the ground repeatedly, pushing her past her limits. Eventually, Liu Qing hits her breaking point, his powerful blows tearing through the last of her resistance. Suddenly, the dormant energy inside her bursts free. As she unleashes her final form, her wings spread wide, glowing with the fierce mix of lightning and purple flames. Yo watches calmly, releasing his own powers in response. He activates his strongest body technique, merging martial force with elemental energy into one form. Then, he leaps toward her with fierce precision. Their clash begins, and now they look like two majestic gods battling it out. Like, literally, their rapid exchange of blows is so intense, it's impossible to keep track of what's happening. From the sidelines, the announcer starts to panic, realizing neither fighter can fully control the energy they're unleashing. As her attack rushes toward our guy, he readies himself and uses a secret genetic move. A massive golden wall bursts from the arena floor, shielding him. As the opponent's energy smashes the wall, it strains under the pressure and finally shatters. The crowd stares in shock, wondering what just went down. Some fear that if the mayor doesn't act fast, the entire arena might collapse. The mayor himself looks tense, eyes fixed on the broken barrier. The combined force of Yihi and Liu Qing's powers had overwhelmed it instantly. Back in the arena, blood drips from Liu Ying's hand as she forces herself up. Every move sends sharp pain through her body, but she stays on her knees, refusing to fall completely. Yeno steps forward to face his exhausted opponent. Liu Qing lifts her head and looks at him in disbelief, her best attack barely left a scratch. Yu delivers a final warning, pointing out the radiation now spreading through her body. Without quick treatment, the damage will be permanent. Liu Ying's body trembles and she cries out, her voice cracking as she demands to know why the fight had to get this far. Yiha calmly crouches in front of Liu Qing and meets her gaze without anger. He's actually impressed by her fighting spirit and decides he won't give up. Inside, she admits that all she ever wanted in the fight was to win. Above all, her drive to fight wasn't just about winning. She was genuinely having a blast. Meanwhile, my guy helps her bounce back by sharing some of his mana. He points out she was overthinking during the fight, which definitely led to her downfall. On a positive note, he looks forward to battling her again when she's back in top form. With that, the match wraps up, and the announcer declares him the winner of the first semifinal. Not long after, Chu easily claims his victory, moving on to the final round. The Anchang High School final match kicks off. The arena fills with tension as Yi He and Chu face off, watched by a huge live broadcast audience. Chu draws his glowing sword, radiating fierce energy as he gets ready to strike. Yi He smirks, totally unbothered. Chu charges in with a spinning slash, swinging 7 clones of his blade at our guy. Meanwhile, Yi He gathers energy, preparing his counterattack. When his explosive fist crashes against Chu's sword, the blast sends shards and shockwaves flying in all directions. The punch hits hard, making Chu comment on Yi He's brutal style. Instead of going after the real sword, Yi smashes every clone in sight with raw power. Now, Chu knows none of his defense tactics will work against this beast. Despite that, he decides to switch things up. Since close combat is off the table, he opts for a long-range attack to wear Yi Hai down. Energy surges around him as he summons a giant, fierce dragon made purely of raw power. The dragon roars forward, charging with unstoppable force, triggering his bloodline ability. Chu unleashes his ice pulse power. Frosty energy floods the arena, rapidly spreading out. Jagged ice spikes burst from the ground, forming a towering ice wall that traps Yi He inside. Meanwhile, a thin bead of sweat appears on Chu's forehead. The sheer effort is really pushing his limits. Moments later, the ice begins to crack. From inside, golden and blue light bursts outward. A shockwave ripples across the stage as Yi breaks free, shattering the ice mountain with brutal strength. With that first move failed, Chu steels himself and prepares another ice attack, aiming at a massive crystal formation right next to Yi He. Before the strike lands, my guy completely nullifies the attack. Still catching his breath, Chu asks what chance he really has at winning. Yi He smiles calmly and dismisses Chu's odds, saying they're no better than those of a stray cat. Like any reasonable person, Chu raises his hand quietly and surrenders. The final result is announced. Yi He claims victory in the Anqing High School final. Cheers erupt throughout the stadium as Yi He's fans celebrate wildly. Standing proudly center stage, he soaks in the energy from the crowd. His name echoes from every corner of the arena. Screens around the city flash his face, broadcasting the win live as his fame skyrockets. People start calling him the strongest champion in Anqing history. The host steps forward to formalize it, officially crowning Yi He the tournament champion. After 3 intense days of battles, the title is his. During the closing ceremony, a reporter asks about his rise from the bottom. Yi He credits his teacher for their support in the toughest times. From the stage's edge, the principal also calls out to show respect. He announces a scholarship worth $2 million, honoring Yi He's incredible achievement. Naturally, Yi He accepts it right away, thanking both the school and principal. Proudly, he also acknowledges his own hard work that made this victory possible. Soon after, a new alert pops up on his system interface. Yi He has unlocked a secret system reward for winning the tournament. Later, as he walks down the quiet stadium hallway, the moment he steps outside, a crowd erupts around him. Reporters, students, and camera crews swarm him from all sides, flooding the hallway with flashes and questions. Some students push forward, flashing suggestive photos and tossing out weird, inappropriate questions. Taken completely by surprise and caught speechless, Ye dashes through the doors, yelling that he doesn't have a minute to spare. He slips into the basketball gym, finally shaking off the crowd. Breathing easier, he's pumped after finding out that he can actually gain multiple template abilities, which means he's not stuck with just one. Before he can let that sink in, a man emerges from the shadows, congratulating him on winning the tournament. At first, Yi assumes he's just another reporter, but the man quickly clears that up. He's not with the media. He introduces himself as someone linked to Huadu University here to discuss something called genetic locking. Naturally, Ye gets a bit nervous when he hears that term. After all his power came from monster templates, and he's never dealt with anything like genetic locking before. Then the man asks if Yi learned about this from his father, who was just an ordinary taxi driver. Yi Hai nods, but the man pulls out some confidential papers, saying that info doesn't match Yi's dad's background. There's a whole other story, something deeper hidden beneath it all. He hands Yi an envelope, saying it's related to his unique situation. Yi opens it and freezes when he sees what's inside. There's a picture of a godlike figure named Prometheus, The documents link this figure to a top-secret national biotech project that's never been made public. It hits Yi that he finally understands this guy's angle. From what he gathers, these people think his father was a scientist on the Prometheus project and Yi is the result. The man confirms this by telling him he's been classified as a high-level national subject. According to the report, he's now recognized by the government and will be fully protected by the state. Plus, the government doesn't plan to harm him. Instead, Yi deserves to know the truth about who he really is and what that classification means. Of course, Yi plays along and answers just right. For him, fame always brings headaches, so he'd rather stay under the radar. After the man leaves, Yi gets back on track. With his official acceptance into Huadu University confirmed, he's celebrating a hefty scholarship and prize money. Best part, he's pumped to draw the template ability he earned after clearing the exam. No time wasted, he activates the system's template draw feature. A glowing, portal-like shape forms before him, shining with intense light. As energy swirls around, a colossal godlike mechanical giant appears. The system calls it a D-rank template, a supergiant humanoid standing 60 meters tall with just a 1% fusion rate. Yi is stunned by the reveal. He immediately starts crunching the numbers on what that could mean. If this supergiant fused with the Demora template, the damage would be off the charts. A vision forms in the system, an imagined mashup of brutal, monstrous powers, towering and unstoppable, glowing with near-limitless energy. Meanwhile, a mysterious big shot cancels every appointment. He just says private matters need his attention. The person he talks to is an investigator wearing a hazmat suit, reporting no bodies were found in the ruins, but some debris was recovered near the last signal spot. Tests show nuclear radiation and signs of a massive energy blast. Looks like this masked investigator is digging into Yi's case. The big shot doesn't want his so-called brother risking his life. After all, their mother's dying wish was for him to protect his sibling no matter what. He watches footage of Yuhi's win at the Anqing tournament, but laments that his little brother won't get into any university. Back to Yuhi, he stands there holding a mysterious package, flipping it over and carefully opening it, wondering if what's inside will help him during the upcoming secret realm exploration. Inside is a handwritten letter. He reads it and discovers news of an ancient artifact found in the realm. The details blow his mind, and he stares at the letter in disbelief, surprised anyone still uses pen and paper these days. As the sun sets, Redwood Mountain in Ann City glows under the fading light. A massive crowd gathers at the trial site. Thousands stand eagerly waiting as the secret realm event draws near. Among the crowd, Chu confidently waves at Yiha. Yiha studies him closely, noticing how much stronger Chu looks since they last crossed paths. Curious, Yiha asks which university Chu plans to aim for. Chu replies with Huedu University, which means there's a good chance they'll end up going to the same school. Suddenly, Yiha picks up a faint sadness in Chu's expression. Right at that moment, a booming announcement echoes across the mountain, calling all participants to attention. Above them, a dimensional rift begins to tear open in the sky. The rift surges violently as a towering, many-headed dark creature starts to emerge from the void. Suspended above Redwood Mountain, the monstrous beast looms ominously. Fighters scattered across the battleground stare up in shock, overwhelmed by the creature's sheer presence. Amid the growing tension, a red-haired warrior steps forward, rallying everyone, commanding them to take down the demon and storm into the secret realm. The fight erupts instantly, with dozens charging one massive beast. By now, that poor monster's probably regretting the choice to show up here. Inside Redwood Mountain's secret realm, Yiha and the others trudge through rugged terrain. As they move, Yiha notices a sharp metallic scent hanging thick in the air. Suddenly, from the edge of the forest, a horde of demonic beasts bursts out. Their twisted forms rush forward, attacking from every angle. Immediately, an order spreads through the group to take out the monsters first before anything else. Without missing a beat, the fighters swing blades and unleash energy strikes, cutting through the swarm. While the warriors fight off the monsters all around, Chu also pulls his weight. But just as a monster is about to grab him, our guy jumps in to save him. Speaking of our hero, Chu glances back and sees dozens of demonic beasts piled up nearby, melted down to just bone and smoke. Shocked, he realizes it's Yiha who took them all out. It turns out he's been quietly using massive radiation blasts, breaking down the monster's cells without leaving a trace. Witnesses are stunned by the rapid scale of the cleanup. Some doubt a high schooler could be that powerful, but others recall the feats shown during this year's live broadcast, reminding them just how extraordinary the top contenders really are. Yiha and his team stand ready, radiating power as they hold their formation. After the furious battle, the beast-tide leader finally falls. The remaining monsters scatter, signaling the end of the attack. Meanwhile, my guy's gone full green goblin, grabbing every stone he can get his hands on. Not sure how he'll carry it all. Chu steps in and offers a ring that can help carry the haul. Just then, the the senior warrior who beat the beast leader, returns. A wave of relief washes over the survivors at the sight of the big shot. Without his help, things could have gotten a lot worse. The big guy turns to our hero and introduces himself. He's Wooin, from the An City Silver Wolf faction. He openly praises our guy's performance. So impressed, he offers an S-rank contract to join their elite squad. The deal comes with university support and top-tier perks. Of course, the crowd reacts with disbelief. After all, even the best university students rarely get offers this good. Before Yeehaw can answer, a girl arrives riding a black flame beast. She playfully teases Wen for showing up early just to snatch all the prime candidates. Then, she offers Yeehaw a spot in their smaller group, promising 15% of their monthly cultivation resources. The offer is surprisingly generous, almost like a shareholder stake. The crowd gasps again, but Yeehaw politely declines both proposals. He clearly states he's not ready to join any teams just yet. Despite turning them down, he shakes hands with both reps, keeping the door open for future partnerships. With the beast tide driven back, Yeehaw and Chu turn their focus back to exploring. They launch into the air, scouting the land from above as the forest spreads out below. They eventually land atop one of the giant red trees, taking in the vast vista. Out of nowhere, Chu spots something odd in the distance, giant beings looming like mountains. A wave of unease washes over him. Meanwhile, our guy is oddly thrilled by the sight of these massive figures. He keeps scanning with his life force radar, mapping out every living creature nearby. Most of the forest buzzes with life signals, but one area stands completely empty. A huge stretch in the southeast reads like a complete void. This weird gap feels so suspicious he's convinced something major is hiding there. When you see smoke, there's gotta be fire. Without hesitation, he heads straight for Stud Lake. A little later, Yeehaw suddenly spots Sister Julie hanging out in the woods with two teammates. He strolls over to say hi. He asks how long they've been inside the realm, and Julie explains her team just arrived recently and has been checking out the lake area. Suddenly, Yu Yang bursts up out of the water like a cannonball. He's pumped, shouting that they've struck it rich, claiming they found something beneath the lake. Yu Yang tells everyone there are ancient ruins below the surface, and the group cheers like they just won the lottery. Yeehaw, surprised by his excitement, asks what kind of ruins could cause such a reaction. Chu steps in to explain that in these secret realms, ruins are left behind by lost civilizations. These spots often hide powerful knowledge, secret techniques, or ancient artifacts. Chu adds that many of the bedrock principles of modern martial arts and tech likely come from discoveries like these. Suddenly, Yu Yang notices our duo and immediately goes on high alert, clearly not happy. But Julie quickly tries to chill him out, reminding him that our two stars ranked first and second in the last city trials. Their strength is top-notch, and she suggests letting them join the team. Yu Yang eyes them carefully, then demands to know how the loot from the ruins will be split up. Yi proposes dividing rewards based on individual effort. The more you contribute, the bigger your piece of the pie. Reluctantly, Yu Yang agrees to this temporary truce but warns them not to cross any lines. With the plan settled, the team dives into the water. Together, they swim toward the ruins, entering a glowing cave lit by crystal formations hanging from the ceiling like shimmering icicles. The light bounces off the walls, guiding their path. They scope out the chamber ahead and notice the deeper part of the cave lies beyond a narrow corridor. Suddenly, Yu Yang realizes their teammate Li is missing. He was supposed to be watching the entrance. One teammate guesses Li might have gone ahead alone looking for treasure. Yu Yang calls out for Li, but there's no answer. As the group inches forward, Chu asks if they took any precautions against underground monsters. One of the girls replies that she and Li placed detection bombs near the ruins, but so far, no monsters have shown up. She worries whether they should keep going, especially since Li disappeared without a trace. Yu Yang gets angry and shouts that they have to push forward. Fortune's just ahead, and only cowards quit now. If you're scared of risk, you can turn back, but the rest of you better move forward. As expected, his words quiet the group. Feeling the pressure, no one backs down. Everyone steels themselves and cautiously moves through the glowing underground tunnel. Going deeper, our guy senses looming danger, but there's no time to overthink it. The threat has already started. In his head, he realizes Yu Yang and Li finding this secret path in such a giant underground cave is way too perfect to be random. The route they took was probably a trap. Still, Yeehaw doesn't blink. He smirks, confident in the secret card he hasn't revealed yet. The group steps into a huge underground chamber. Eerie green vines creep along the walls, pulsing softly with a strange energy. Looking closer, they spot skeletons wrapped tightly in vines, clear signs of a brutal massacre. Above them, they notice what's left of Li's body, reduced to nothing but bones. The group is utterly shocked. Yu Yang even collapses to his knees. Not only is the relic they came for gone, but Li's life was taken too. Then, suddenly, something starts seeping into Yu Yang's body. The same force that claimed Lee is now eating away at him. He tries to warn everyone to run. Before he can say another word, green vines burst violently out of his skull, blood splattering everywhere. He's killed instantly, his body yanked upward and impaled by those same demonic vines. My guy steps in and blasts the corpse to bits just before. Things get even worse. Turns out the demon beast is smarter than anyone expected. It captured 2 warriors and used Yu Yang as perfect bait to lure in more victims. By the time they realize, it's way too late, they've already walked right into the trap. The cave shakes as huge vines slam down, sealing off the tunnel behind them. The beast doesn't want anyone escaping. Chu then decides to fill in the clueless lady. Based on everything they've seen, the enemy is a second-stage demon beast called a ghost vine demon. Its power and cunning put it way beyond normal threats. Julie's eyes widen in disbelief because a king-level beast is more than any of them can handle. But my guy stays unfazed. He doesn't care about labels. All that matters is smashing that monster to bits. The ground trembles under his power as he delivers the first strike. Right then, another force charges into the chamber, a fierce, commanding man making his entrance. Our boy notices this giant figure. Turns out it's the same man who's been digging into our boy's past. He explains how he tracked Yiha using radiation traces left in the mountains. Even while suppressing his presence and sneaking through stone walls and collapsed tunnels, he managed to follow Yiha into the cave without being spotted. Now, he's here to finish what started long ago. The one who escaped their ambush is finally within reach. Yiha casts a casual glance at the furious man rushing toward him, pretending not to recognize the attacker. The angry man yells a battle cry and lunges recklessly. Mid-charge, he suddenly gets wrapped by hidden vines bursting from the ground. Realizing too late, he stepped into the ghost vine demon's territory. Panic replaces rage as he struggles, screaming that the demon is after him now, suspecting this might have been Yiha's plan all along. Yiha reminds the brute these vines can absorb spiritual energy and rage. The man unleashes a massive energy blast across the battlefield. Julie watches the fight and spots cracks spreading along the cavern walls from all the pressure. The whole structure is starting to collapse. She shouts for everyone to get out before the cave caves in completely. Yiho gathers his energy and fires a spiraling blast straight up into the ceiling. The explosion tears through the rock, sending debris raining down everywhere. Amid the chaos, Yiha tells Yuli and the others to escape while he holds the monster back. The fiery beast roars defiantly, ready to stop him. Just as the enemy charges, a sudden flash of ice energy cuts across the fight. It's our boy Chu stepping forward, gripping his sword and blocking the attacker's path. The enemy scoffs, mocking the defense, throwing his rank of 8th stage martial artist in their faces. But my guy couldn't care less about fancy titles. With lightning crackling around his fist, he lands a sudden strike, a brutal move called the Atomic Explosive Fist. The explosion bursts in a flash of blue light, shaking the ground beneath them. After the hit, Yiha tells Chu to fall back, acknowledging the powerful difference in skill. The opponent is fearsome, and Yiha plans to face him solo. He steps forward, urging the others to get out, he'll handle the rest. Sometime later, everyone except our boy finally climbs out of the lake. Chu gets out too. Just as he's worrying about his buddy, a massive surge of blue energy erupts from the lake and a huge mutant creature bursts from the blast. Is that an Attack on Titan shoutout? Whatever it is, I'm not too bothered, but what I do know is that arrogant punk is totally done for. After a while, Yiha reappears in his human form, leaping from the lake as his teammates rush over. Sitting down, he reveals the intruder was rigged with a plasma bomb. Both that guy and the vein monster died after the explosion went off. With their joint mission finished, both teams decide it's time to part ways. He offers polite goodbyes to Julie, promising to repay their support once they break out of the secret realm. Now, the two boys are left on their own to grind hard and gather as much loot as possible. After exploring together, they head back to the appraisal center. Iho slams his bag onto the counter. The receptionist advises him to be careful with the loot he brought in. If anything's damaged, he won't get a dime in return. He nods and starts calmly placing bags on the counter, each packed with valuable resources. One by one, the bags pile up. By the time he sets down the last one, the receptionist stares wide-eyed, struggling to keep up. She hesitates, then asks if he's finally done unloading. Yeho smirks and tells her to start the calculations, adding that he still has plenty of spirit medicines waiting to be checked. Before long, a crowd gathers by the center, recognizing the rare herbs Yeho has brought. The onlookers are totally stunned by their rarity and worth. Meanwhile, our guy is busy mentally sorting his inventory, planning to sell off the lower-grade magic cores. After all the trades, his account gets a credit of 27 million yuan. He leaves the center, ready to sell the appraised spirit herbs next. Suddenly, a luxury car pulls up right in front of him. An older man steps out, the owner of Ping Pharmacy. He greets Yeho directly, mentioning he's heard about the herbs Yeho brought in. He offers to buy them at a price above market value. Yiho quickly realizes someone at the appraisal center leaked the info, but he doesn't mind selling. The buyers came to him, and the price is just right. After the deal, the luxury car drives off, while the man reminds him to reach out next time he has more spirit herbs. Yiho checks his phone and sees another huge deposit hit his bank account. With the cash in hand, he starts planning his next move. Standard supplements and low-tier herbs haven't boosted his cultivation much. If he wants to get stronger, his next big investment has to be in power. The resources needed for major breakthroughs are still out of reach. But then, another idea pops up, one that doesn't depend on money. He chooses to pursue martial arts training. With that plan in mind, he heads straight to Anshang No-1 Middle School, where the principal's office doors open. Inside, a warm drink is served, setting a respectful and formal mood. The principal greets Yiho kindly and shows mild surprise at his visit. Yiho presents a small package from Ping Pharmacy, clarifying it's not a bribe, just a simple thank you gift. The principal, humbled by the gesture, listens as Yiho clearly explains his request. Since he hasn't started university yet, he can't ask his clan for help. He hopes the school can help find him a solid martial arts teacher. The principal suggests waiting until university begins, where training resources would be easier to access, but Yiho insists he's ready to get stronger now and doesn't want to wait. The principal studies him for a moment, then agrees to make an exception. Recognizing Yiho's determination, he promises to arrange the necessary support. The next afternoon, Yiho wipes sweat from his forehead after a training session. His phone rings with the update everything's ready. He thanks the principal and asks which martial arts family will take him in. When he hears the answer, he freezes in disbelief. The Liu family of Anshang has agreed to teach him their secret skills. On the outskirts of Anshang, a motorcycle speeds down the road. The girl riding shotgun is loving the thrill so far. The driver looks like a playboy, ready to show off even more power. Up ahead is our guy, pedaling his bike fast enough to keep pace. He warns the lovers to be careful, speed kills. Of course, the biker feels his pride wounded when he realizes there's another biker going way faster than him. So, the reckless driver decides to go all out, determined to reclaim his status. He speeds up way past his limit and leaves his rival behind. Just as the rider is about to feel proud for getting ahead, our guy taps into his powers and zooms past him with speed no ordinary bike could match. The onlookers are stunned, barely able to process what they just saw. Moments later, Yiho pulls up to the grand gates of the Liu family estate, pausing a moment to soak in the impressive sight. His instincts have flagged this place as home to some seriously powerful folks. Just as he steps in, a girl appears at the entrance. Liu Qing greets him with a warm smile, but instantly tenses up the moment he tries to joke around with her. After a bit, she turns and starts walking ahead. As they head inside the mansion, Liu Qing announces Yihe's here. Right after her call, her mother comes down the stairs to welcome the young man. She's stunning, no doubt, but it's her commanding presence that makes the air feel heavier. Introducing herself as Qin Lan, matriarch of the Liu family, she extends a gracious welcome to Yihe. Then the story flashes back to the past. After the college entrance exam, Liu Qing stands nervously before her mother, ready to speak, but her mom gently interrupts, telling her not to be so anxious. Nearby, a large screen shows footage of Yihe's exam performance. Watching carefully, the mother praises her daughter's remarkable results, even though she didn't win. She shifts the conversation to her younger brother, reminding Liu Qing that he lacks the talent to uphold the family legacy, making Liu Qing the only heir. Likewise, she acknowledges her daughter's intelligence, beauty, and strength, emphasizing that she's their last hope. The Liu family is teetering on a dangerous edge with their father already gone, and their future depends on strong alliances. Unfazed, she proposes marrying Liu Qing to Yihe. With his strength, skills, and solid bloodline, he's the ideal match, not just a rising star, but someone truly worthy of the Liu family name. She simply asks her daughter to spend time getting to know him and see what kind of future he offers. Fast forward to now, standing at the Liu estate's entrance, Yi bows respectfully and presents a gift. Liu Qing's mother warmly welcomes him, greeting him with genuine kindness. She mentions the school principal told her about Yihe's wish to study advanced martial arts. She confirms the plan and instructs Liu Qing to be his guide. Yihe will get access to the Liu family's martial arts pavilion. By family rules, he's allowed one full day inside to train. She explains that deep within the pavilion lie 3 powerful martial techniques, and whether he can grasp any of them depends solely on his own talent. Yi bows once again, offering a formal thanks to the Liu family as a whole, not just to the matriarch. This gesture does not go unnoticed. Liu Qing's mother silently acknowledges his awareness, impressed by his political savvy and calm composure. Meanwhile, Liu Qing watches, puzzled by her mother's newfound interest in Yi. Without saying a word, her mother leads Yihe through a lengthy underground hallway heading to the martial pavilion. Along the way, Yi tries to lighten the mood with a teasing comment, causing Liu Qing to quickly deny it with a flustered reaction. He leans in close, and she responds with irritated embarrassment. The reason for her embarrassment is pretty clear. She just can't get over the fact that this guy might be her future hubby someday. Eventually, they reach a massive sealed gate, crafted from rare reinforced material, designed to withstand intense martial techniques. Yiho studies it carefully and asks if he's allowed to strike it directly. Liu Qing looks confused, not sure if he should even be asking such a thing. Plus, it's obvious she's wondering why this goof isn't more impressed by the stone's strength. Without hesitation, Yi throws a glowing blue punch charged with martial energy. As his fist nears the surface, Liu Qing stiffens. The color and power trigger distant memories she'd rather keep buried. Yi follows up with a second hit, sending another burst of blue energy against the gate. The impact ripples through the air, but the stone remains uncracked and unmoved. Liu Qing quietly chuckles at his attempt, while Yi is left completely baffled about what just happened. All he felt was his energy getting sucked into a void. Anyway, she guides him deeper into the scroll library. Going further leads to a secret vault containing martial techniques. Before moving on, he's told he can select any technique from the vault and unlock it using the identity card he's been given. Liu Qing also warns him that fully mastering a profound martial technique in just one day is almost unheard of, and suggests starting with something more basic. Iho throws out another playful jab, which makes her respond with a shy, flustered vibe. Still, she enters the code and cracks open the secure vault, holding the martial arts techniques. As the chamber opens up, we catch sight of small vaults inside, each containing a unique technique. She then explains to him that mastering Shu and Huang martial arts is all about tuning into the martial rhythm within. If he can't sense that rhythm, he won't be able to learn the style. Simply put, Shu and Huang martial arts are alive. It's not the martial artist who picks the art chooses its practitioners instead. Sometime later, Yiho settles beneath a glowing statue, with the simple task of absorbing the radiant light streaming from it. To give some context, we flash back to when the girl explains that the Ju and Huang martial arts aren't passed down through scrolls or books. Instead, their knowledge is connected to statues, sculptures, tools, or any object that can carry the imprint of martial rhythm, basically, anything that can store and preserve a technique. The legacy isn't written, but rather forged into physical form. Luing shares that only a true master can forge martial intent into a tangible medium, turning it into a lasting vessel for passing down the art. What happens next is totally up to him. Back to our guy, he stands there a moment, then throws himself flat on the floor. Liu Qing watches the monitor, looking totally unimpressed by his antics. Inside the chamber, Yiho realizes this martial rhythm is a kind of spiritual realm, and since he's inside it now, he currently has no powers. Even the system notes he's entered a spiritual world. The statue behind him suddenly comes alive, reminding Yiho that only those with genuine strength and will can master martial power. It demands proof, strength, resolve, and the guts to walk the martial path. To prove himself, the old man assigns Yiho to guard duty, where he must defend the temple from a horde of ghosts that roam the area at night. The dripping water signals the start of the trial. Immediately, red, demonic ghosts swarm the place. As they leap at him, Yiho channels his energy. He rushes into the mass with his blade ready. Our guy cuts through those ghosts like it's no big deal. Meanwhile, the statue silently observes, its tone dripping with disdain as it mocks the weakness of today's generation, lamenting how far martial arts have declined. Meanwhile, our hero stays focused. Then, one of the ghosts attacks, but nothing happens to him. Even the watching statue has to admit what it's seeing. Yep, those ghosts can't lay a finger on him. Turns out his system is automatically shielding him from these spiritual entities. Within minutes, he wipes out all the ghosts using his glorious golden energy, leaving the statue stunned. The next challenge is to dive into the well right in front of him. This well holds more than just glowing light, it contains the condensed life essence of the old master, a reservoir filled with pure martial energy accrued over generations. Hidden inside is a forbidden technique called Devil in the Flesh. If he can endure this ordeal, he might be able to fuse the technique with his body. With that in mind, Yiho jumps in. The observer above tenses at the daring move. After all, no one before has ever entered so boldly, so unfazed by the danger. Inside the well, Yiho's consciousness drifts away. Pulled into a spiritual dimension, he faces a fierce, multi-headed beast that embodies the trial. As the process unfolds, the blood in his veins starts boiling. His muscles cramp, and his bones shudder under the intense pressure of the demon technique. Back in the control room, Liu Qing stands quietly beside her mother, both watching him endure the trial. The girl is losing her mind, trying to figure out what on earth is happening to this guy. It seems her mother is beginning to grasp the situation. The third Shu and Huang martial technique, locked away at the deepest vault level, had once fallen into Liu Qing's grandfather's hands by sheer luck during his later years. Yet, no one in the family ever managed to master it. That technique demanded enduring an unimaginable amount of pain. No one had the iron will needed to conquer it, not even her grandfather. If Yi has truly taken on the full burden of that technique, it means his determination far exceeds the average, and he's prepared to pay whatever price comes with it. Right at that moment, our guy wakes up, yawning and stretching like he just finished a laid-back Sunday stroll. Against all odds, he survived the trial. He turns toward the statue and offers his thanks to the Elder Spirit, speaking to the ancestors who created the technique. Even though his base stats remain the same, he confirms that mastering the technique has effectively doubled his fighting power. Moments later, Lu Qing and her mother walk into the room, still trying to process what they just witnessed. Lu Qing looks him straight in the eye and asks if he really completed the technique. Yiha responds with a casual salute, confirming his success. Naturally, her mother's at a loss for words. That technique had defeated every family member who tried for generations, yet Yihi finished it in less than an hour. While Yihi's feeling pretty full of himself, Lu Qing silently observes him. Even as a praised genius herself, she knows the guy in front of her belongs to a different league. Yiha then turns back to the group, ready to show off his new strength. In a flash, blue and red energy bursts from his body. His martial aura surges like a storm, drawn directly from his inner martial world and transformed into raw power. Lu Qing senses something darker, hidden in the energy, a presence like trapped demons, whispering beneath the surface. Meanwhile, her mother looks impressed and praises Yi's strength with genuine admiration. Not gonna lie, the lady looks visibly impressed. Lu Qing suggests he spend the rest of his time in the vault studying the remaining techniques. Meanwhile, her mother feels a bit disappointed for her daughter. Though she clearly discourages the idea of her girl marrying this guy, she's still handing over literal generational wealth to him without hesitation. Surprisingly, Yiha declines further training, explaining that absorbing the last technique took a huge toll, and he has other responsibilities demanding his attention. Lu Qing's mother accepts his explanation and tells her daughter to escort him home. Before they leave, she casually drops a rumor about him arriving by bicycle earlier that day. So, she offers to open her garage so he can pick out any top-tier vehicle he wants. Remember that couple rolling on that sleek Hayabusa? Yi decides to grab a heavy bike for himself, too. Then we cut to that Hayabusa walking along the road on foot after losing his bike in an accident. Turns out he's the unfortunate brother Lu Qing's mother had mentioned. Suddenly, a high-end motorcycle speeds past the estate's entrance, kicking up a cloud of dust behind it. Of course, it's our guy. The young man outside freezes mid-step, stunned to realize it's the same person who was racing on the bicycle. Back at Yihi's place, he prepares a bizarre and unconventional meal. On the table sits a bowl filled with glowing spirit crystals arranged with sauce and chopsticks like a regular dish. He picks up a glowing blue shard and eats it first, treating it as casually as if it were a snack. As soon as he swallows the stone, his physical stats spike, but it's not enough. He decides to invest every available point into the giant transformation template, aiming for maximum impact. Next, he grabs a golden demon core to consume, and as he does, energy bursts out of him explosively. His system offers an option to mutate his Dora template. He's prompted to choose whether to proceed. Naturally, he pauses briefly to weigh his options. After deciding, he hits the confirm button, hoping for a good result. When the process finishes, he unlocks another monster template called Star Universe Demora. Once the Savage Trace Diora hits 100% synchronization, there's a 2% chance it will evolve into Star Universe Diora. He's thrilled with the news. To complete the evolution, he has to push the current template to 100%. The only way forward is accelerated growth. Suddenly, a powerful shockwave explodes outside a clear sign that something big is about to go down. Right outside Yi's apartment complex, dozens of police cruisers swarm the area as armed officers lock down the perimeter and evacuate all nearby civilians. Then, someone knocks on Yihi's door. Yihao knows the original owner of this body didn't have friends who just dropped by like this, and there weren't any scheduled deliveries. Something feels off. That's when he spots an intruder perched right outside the apartment window. She looks tall, sharp, and definitely dangerous. We might not know who this mysterious woman really is, but she drops a hint about her plan. Initially, she just wanted to stash an item here and mess with the host's memory on the way out. But now that he's caught her sneaking around, things have shifted. She has to be dealt with. Our guy stays cool, no sign of fear. Instead, he pauses a moment before delivering the verdict. She's basically a dead woman walking on these streets. Meanwhile, a squad of officers is facing off against a lone guy named Joe. Even with all eyes on him, Joe's trying to hold his ground. Getting a bit cocky, he unleashes the forbidden blood-burning move. But the guy gets brought down fast when our hero drops down from above while battling that creepy woman. Her nano battlesuit is now charred black, clear proof our guy isn't going easy on her. Turns out these two are partners in crime, and the woman tells Joe she's hidden the item, so it's time to get out of there. Just before the police can catch them, a smoke bomb goes off. Thick white fog fills the street, and by the time it clears, the culprits have vanished, gone without a trace, slipping right into the sewer system. Think they managed to shake off the threat? Not quite. Our guy shows up there. Yeho wants answers. Why hasn't the woman who broke into his place explained herself yet? Joe yells at our guy, demanding to know how he tracked them when even special forces failed. But Yeho doesn't owe them anything. Actually, he tracked them by sensing the nuclear energy the woman was emitting. When it's time to move, talking stops. He rockets forward like a missile, Fist leading the charge. When the punch lands, the power tears through Joe, slamming him against a concrete wall, cracking it as dust flies everywhere. The woman, known as Yeem, gasps at this brutal scene. Seeing Joe tossed like that hits her hard. That level of power shouldn't even be possible. Whoever trained this kid must be something else. Yeho clarifies he's a disciple of Emperor Guangla. The woman has never heard that name before. That's when a knocked-out guy wakes up and morphs into a grotesque alien creature. Claiming the title of 6th-tier martial artist, this guy is no joke. Facing a strong opponent gets our guy pumped. Meanwhile, the big woman tries to sneak up from behind, confident he won't notice. But before she gets close, our guy fires an energy beam without even looking her way, knocking her out of invisibility and sending her flying. With the big woman taken out like yesterday's garbage, Joe launches a powerful punch. Their fists collide in a thunderous clash. Joe's attack has insane power, and Yeho feels it. In the next moment, our guy disappears, leaving Joe confused. Then he reappears in giant humanoid form, ready to crush Joe with a heavy blow. When the punch lands, you can guess what happens to Joe. The big woman watches in awe, regretting ever crossing our guy. This fight is way out of her league. With no way out, her only choice is to fight until the end. So, she lunges at our guy, trying to wrap his giant humanoid head in molecular strings pulled from her nano armor, sharp enough to cut high-grade alloys. But as soon as she tightens the threads, the humanoid's head dissolves into nothing. Just when she thinks she's won, a massive energy beam blasts her from nowhere, likely wiping her out completely. Our guy then moves toward the injured Joe, bloodied and battered. Since Joe's about to die, he tries to take Yeho down with him. The thing Yime hid in Yeho's place is called the Golden Gene. Now it's in our guy's hands, making him a target for many. So, Yeho's death is basically inevitable. Our guy finishes Joe off with a solid kick to the face, killing him instantly. He knows reinforcements could show up anytime, and the chaos he's caused won't go unnoticed. So, he heads back to his apartment, texting with Liu Qing's mother, who's relieved to hear the police don't suspect him at all. Then, his focus shifts to the Golden Gene, the very thing those guys were talking about. When he examines it closely, he spots a familiar emblem he's seen before. It appeared in the Prometheus file, shared once by a man from Huadu. From what Yeha figures out, those two guys had stolen it from Laser Bird and were fleeing, chased relentlessly. Now those Aishe have dumped their headache onto him. Deep inside the B-level secret realm called Swan Lake, a group of experienced martial warriors is in the middle of a hunt. They manage to corner and take down some blood wolves. As the team captain slices open a blood wolf's stomach and pulls out the magic core, a deep, foreboding rumble shakes the forest. The ground quakes under the thunderous pounding of countless monster footsteps, all charging in the same direction. What they see next leaves them frozen in their tracks. An endless tsunami of beasts is ravaging the forest, swallowing everything in sight. Headlining this chaos is a colossal sovereign-class beast called the Sinwolf. Spotting the monster, leading the charge, the adventurers' party bolts, making a run for it. With this sovereign-level beast horde marching toward a city, the adventurers are dead certain and city won't survive. High-tier magical beasts almost never stray from their own turf. That's why Swan Lake's secret realm had remained peaceful for so long. Now, a monster of this caliber showing up here means only one thing: serious trouble. The giant ape-like creature roars and hurls meteor-like boulders. Within seconds, the warrior team is obliterated, crushed beneath the massive rocks. Outside Swan Lake's secret realm, alarms blare across the city. People freeze in place. Moments later, the mayor's voice breaks through over the citywide broadcast. A massive beast horde is advancing from the B-level Swan Lake realm. Expected breach time, 20 minutes. The army's already mobilized, and all citizens are ordered to either take shelter or evacuate. The mayor's broadcast calls on every warrior in the city to rise up and fight. Armed police hit the streets immediately to maintain order. Government agencies ramp up efforts, doing everything they can to keep the city stable and calm. Inside the mayor's office, he juggles calls, doing all he can to delay the inevitable. Just as his secretary bursts in with an update, he asks about reinforcements. Who's sending troops? The answer is grim. This city isn't the only one under siege. Beast attacks have broken out across multiple regions. Most cities are too consumed by their own crises to help. The few still standing are locking down, building fortresses, and bracing for impact. His voice wavers as he asks about Huadu. Maybe someone from there, a Grandmaster-level warrior or higher, could be sent to assist. Even one would make a difference, but that's not happening either. An S-class secret realm just opened in Guanshan City, right next to the capital. It looks like the battle for the city has already begun, and no one's coming to save them. They have to fight with what they've got. Elsewhere, at the Chu family's training grounds, Yeha and Chu are locked in a sparring match. Just as they prepare for another round, a siren blares across the district. Moments later, their phones buzz with official alerts. College prep students in N City are ordered to evacuate immediately. Chu breaks the silence, asking if Yeha plans to leave. But our guy is over the moon after hearing the news. He's itching to crush some monsters himself, so running away feels like a waste of time. Meanwhile, Liu Qing moves toward the door, ready to fight. But her mother steps in, blocking her path. Although her daughter is set to face the beast horde head-on, the mother is firmly opposed to it. Her only concern is keeping Liu Qing alive. If she goes outside now, there's no safety net, no guarantee she'll come back. An City's entire fighting force barely tops 30,000. Even counting veterans and fresh recruits, they're under 50,000 total. Against a beast horde that massive, they're like tiny boats in a monster tsunami. And with sovereign-class beasts in that wave, it's basically a death sentence. Even grandmasters struggle to hold the line. According to her mother, her life isn't just hers alone. She carries the entire Liu family's legacy with her. One wrong move and everything goes down with her. But the girl isn't having any of it. A warrior clan that can't stand up to monsters doesn't deserve to exist. Without a second thought, the determined girl heads out to fight for her city. As soon as she leaves, Aunt Hong steps forward. She questions the mistress about her boy, wondering if he plans to leave as well. The mistress chooses to let Yi He decide for himself. Inside the secret Swan Lake realm, fighters, young and old, crowd together, gearing up for battle. The beast tide has returned for the first time in 20 years, and no one is planning to run. Without hesitation, the fighters charge forward to defend their homeland against the monsters. At the realm's entrance, soldiers stand ready with their artillery and weapons locked and loaded. This is In City's last line of defense. Right in the center, Hang takes command. He stresses that 60% of In City's military is already inside, along with every ranked martial artist available. Their mission is to gather intel and make it back alive, because losing isn't an option. Suddenly, one soldier stumbles through the rubble, drenched in blood and barely holding on. Medics rush over, dragging him toward the mayor's location. In his trembling hand, he clutches a USB drive containing the Vanguard's entire combat log. Huang demands answers, wanting to know where the rest of the unit is. The soldier lifts his head and delivers the worst news imaginable. No one survived. He warns the commanders about that black ape responsible for wiping out the entire platoon. Finally, the monsters have made their move, ready to burst through the realm's gate. These bastards are cunning. They're deliberately targeting the landmines buried near the realm gate by the tower. As soon as the mines go off, everything around them starts to explode. The traps humans set become their own noose. Huang roars out the order to fight back with everything they've got and wipe out the enemy before the damage spreads any further. Explosions ripple through the battlefield as flaming debris showers down. But the main monster boss is sure these little punks can't hold their ground much longer. Let's cut to our guy, Aura, farming on top of the tallest building. He's grown attached to this city, so he's not about to let it fall apart. With that determination, he jumps off the building, activating one of his monster templates, ready to jump into the fight. Meanwhile, the city is already falling apart. Aerial beasts swarm down, flames blaze through the streets, and flipped vehicles scatter everywhere. Chu is on the battlefield, too, cutting down monsters left and right with surgical sword strikes. Xiaoling joins in fighting the enemies. Suddenly, she sees a beast so huge, she instantly recognizes it. This jerk is an elite monster, a serious threat. Chu is stunned when he realizes what they're really facing. Just as the monster is about to smash everyone with its giant fist, our guy fires a massive energy beam, knocking the beast off its feet. Though powerful, it's not strong enough to finish the job. Now furious, the monster swings back at the new threat. Our guy stays calm, radiating dominance over the creature sprawled beneath him. His wicked grin is so intense even the monster looks like, what the heck is wrong with this dude? In seconds, our guy strikes with a devastating attack that tears the monster apart into an unrecognizable mess. Nearby, Chu and Xiaoling watch in stunned silence. Yeha then turns to his friends and orders Chu to hold the line. Meanwhile, he heads out to support other zones. High above the battlefield, he scans the area looking for bigger targets. Down on the ground, a monstrous creature that looks like a spiked elephant is wreaking havoc. Soldiers do their best to take it down, but their guns do nothing against this beast. One soldier throws his rifle aside and orders everyone to switch to blades. Armed now, these folks rush headlong into their own doom. As expected, none of them survive. They all end up impaled on the elephant's spiked tusks, giving the monster one seriously badass look. While the remaining soldiers argue over whether to retreat or fight to the last breath, the elephant prepares to crush them with its massive trunk. But before it can strike, that jerk gets blasted by a surge of blue energy that wipes him out instantly. Of course, it's our guy crashing down like a full-on meteor strike. Meanwhile, on other fronts, the monsters start pulling back, gathering at one spot. The awakened fighters there are totally thrown off by the sudden retreat. One girl clears things up, saying the enemy isn't running, they're swarming Yeha from every angle. As for who's stepping up, Yi, the top candidate who already proved himself in the entrance exam, gets mentioned. The guy with her figures they can't let monsters overwhelm their star player. He suggests diving into the chaos to back up their leading scorer. And City's martial artists face another hurdle. A Lord-class beast has appeared, zeroing in on Yihei. They're all set to defend City's pride at any cost. They see themselves as humanity's saviors and heroes sworn to hold the rear guard, the last line protecting City's residents from the monstrous behemoths. Mayor Hanging stands his ground inside the city limits, wielding his signature Earth Vein seal to guard the people. He knows the seal can't stop every primal beast. Their real focus needs to be taking out the sovereign beasts. Suddenly, a monster climbs the Earth Vein seal and lunges at him, but he reacts swiftly, scorching that low-tier beast to ashes before it even gets close. Once again, a new behemoth appears, a fourth-tier king species Lord-class crushing python. This beast is Bloody Black Ape's strongest mount, and its arrival signals the apes getting pretty anxious. The beast uses its mountain-crushing Dominator Hammer, a signature move that buries foes under rubble and wreckage. But Mayor Hongqing rises from the rubble unhurt, revealing he was ready for an Earth-type fighter. He counters with Burst Martial Serpent Surge, an attack just as powerful, maybe even stronger. This blast hits the beast hard, but it's still not enough to take it down. The beast gets seriously pissed off after that hit. As it gins up for another attack, the mayor counts himself lucky to have intel on this enemy. Without that, things could have gone a lot darker and way worse if it had slipped into the city. Going all out, the mayor launches a flurry of punches at the beast, but the enemy's ready for him. The crushing python grows quills all over, making it nearly impenetrable. Things get uglier when another beast creeps out from the shadows. Turns out it's the bloody black ape itself, hiding behind a stone spike. The ape isn't happy with how this fight between the mayor and his pet is going. To show humans how insignificant they are, he grabs the mayor and crushes him with bare hands. Acknowledging Mayor Huang's skills, the black ape says he's confirmed no strong martial artists remain in City, meaning he can just wipe everyone out without holding back. But Mayor Huang isn't about to let that slide. He casts Blade Wine Tempest to stop him, but the ape shrugs it off, saying the mayor's death is a done deal. He adds that he no longer has any natural enemies here. This has become a game to him. He wants humanity drowning in fear and despair. The Blade Wine Tempest the mayor throws out, no big deal. Even the mayor admits it was fast but insanely weak. For his second try, he flips the script. He launches a heavy attack, slow as molasses, and the ape dodges it without breaking a sweat. After the mayor flubs several attacks, the ape chooses to show off his prime skills. Closing in, he throws a jab, which the mayor surprisingly takes like it's nothing. Hanging shoots him a fearless glare and snaps that he's misjudged things because he's an arrogant beast. The mayor then lifts the ape into the air using his blood-forbidden technique. This is when the beast realizes he's been baited into a trap his enemy set well in advance. To wrap up the fight, the mayor unleashes Earth Vein Seal, but way more intense than anything he's shown before. The ape admits his foe intends to bury him alive, which strikes him as a bit naive. He warns the mayor that the moment he slips up, he'll annihilate every single human here. Smirking, the mayor reveals the surgical scars on his chest, showing this isn't some backup plan but a tribute to humanity and courage. Then he starts pounding his chest right over his heart. Puzzled, the enemy asks what he's up to. The mayor explains he buried City's only nuclear warhead beneath the battlefield before the war escalated. The trigger is embedded in his heart, and if it stops beating, the warhead goes off. The enemy assumes he's bluffing. No one would stake their life on a trigger like that. The mayor replies that as the city's leader, he'd never back down. After all, he promised his people he'd protect them. Now, with his life flashing before his eyes, he feels he's done his part. Closing his eyes, accepting death, he stops his heart, setting off the nuclear blast. The explosion is ridiculously enormous, loud enough for the martial artists on the front lines to hear it clearly. Before the blast, which launched a massive mushroom cloud, the martial artists had gotten an evacuation alert. Now, witnessing the battle's end, they stand in stunned silence. That nuclear detonation wiped out a huge stretch of the city. The mayor went all in on the sacrifice, but even wiping out a big chunk of the city wasn't enough to take down the evil black ape. The black ape begins regenerating, twisting and reshaping into an even more terrifying form. Not very strong yet, he's in disbelief he nearly got wiped out by a human. Furious, he vows to brutally slaughter every last person in Anne's city, but his fight with the mayor drained him. Unable to continue, he decides to retreat to the Sin Domain, the origin of the beasts. His plan is to recover his blood and chi there. Just as he's about to leave, Yi calls out from behind, asking where he's headed. The black ape recognizes Yi as a major threat and a fearsome prodigy. Knowing it's too late, he calls it regrettable. Ready to fight and win, Yi throws a radiant energy blast with his fist, confident this will finish the battle. But the enemy rises from the smoke unscathed and declares this moment the perfect chance to kill him. The top scorer tells him that if he'd taken his chance and fled earlier, he might have survived the mini-nuke, but now there's no escaping what's coming. This mini-nuke from the top scorer is so huge that the evacuated martial artists suspect it's another trap set by the mayor. The nearly burnt black ape looks at Yi, now in his armored titan form, and calls him a monster. The beast says Yi is more beastly because even king-rank beasts don't radiate an aura like his. The top scorer declares he's nothing like those beasts and begins launching rapid-fire punches at his foe. Though weakened, the enemy dodges impressively. He tells Yi running won't help, which just pumps up his anger, prompting a warning not to underestimate him. They clash again, both fighting with everything, neither willing to back down. But in the end, the top scorer wins, finishing the fight with barely a scratch. He respects the bloody black ape's reign, admitting this battle wasn't easy, even in his armored titan mode. What's more, the ape managed to wound his arm, though it's healed now. Despite his inhuman strength, it wasn't sufficient. The enemy admits he gave his last all in that final strike, but since it didn't bring down the prodigy, he's convinced he can't win. With that, he bolts for his life. But Yi isn't having any of it. Not after Mayor Huang's sacrifice. He unleashes a radiant pulse strike to finish off the evil ape, but the ape dodges the attack. The evil ape dives underground, pretending to be dead, but that only shows one thing: it's terrified of death. Gravely injured, Yi thinks this is his best chance to hunt it down. He discovers that beasts like his foe can completely suppress their life force and thinks if he found this out a bit sooner, Mayor Huang might still be alive. But with his injuries and stealth no longer helping, even the slightest hint of his life energy would reveal where he is. Just as he's thinking about sensing his enemy's life force, he suddenly picks it up from afar and begins firing beams straight at him. Before the ape's location could be exposed, he was dangerously close to entering the Sinan domain. He blames the fallen mayor for his potential failure, and in an instant, he finds himself falling through the air. In a desperate move, the wicked ape burns the last bit of his core's energy, hoping to take his enemy down with him. Releasing his core's final power, he regains use of one arm and lunges at the top scorer with a reckless, all-in attack. When they collide, both suffer heavy damage. This clash costs them each their dominant arms, the very ones they relied on for their ultimate moves. Just as Yi thinks he's won, a sudden mental strike makes his head spin. He suspects another beast is on its way. Looking behind, he catches sight of numerous limbs emerging from the earth, dragging the ape out of view. Moments later, those limbs start sprouting from the giant's joints, locking them in place so he can't move. The top scorer grins, realizing this is the ape's last-ditch effort to stop him, but that's never going to work. He activates Wicker Flame Howl, a spell that lets the giant unleash flames, scorching 1,000 degrees hotter. Meanwhile, pushed along by the limbs, the black ape gets dangerously close to the Sinan domain's entrance. Yet, even after coming this far, death looms as the flames inch closer. Panic sets in when the ape sees death literally closing in on him. At that critical moment, the limbs carrying him begin merging, forming a face. Soon enough, those limbs shape into a massive creature with distinctly feminine features. Staring at such overwhelming power, he wonders if he's witnessing another sovereign. If this is its true form, he figures he's finished in seconds. The new sovereign opens its eyes and lets out a chilling screech that rattles the enemy's mind. Even with the giant servant's hearing disabled, Yiho is fueled by rage. He refuses to watch the monsters walk away with everything they've taken. Going back to his usual wild self, he flips off the sovereign, then detonates a nuclear warhead. The blast is so massive it tears apart the secret realm, leaving the martial artists outside unsure if the mayor really won. Even with the odds stacked against them, they hold on to hope. The invasion from the secret realm grinds to a halt. The martial artists swept through the city, eradicating every last beast, and city survived, but lost 80% of its defenders in the fight. Later, waking up to the aftermath of the nuclear blast, he realizes he's lost track of time. He remembers pouring all his nuclear energy into the giant servant to cause that massive explosion, but the air still carries radiation and atomic residue. This battle was brutal. He had to self-destruct multiple times to finish the job before that brute could pull it back. He admits he wasn't a match for a sovereign-class beast, even with the infinite monster template active. He counts himself lucky to have one, thanks to timing, terrain, and pure luck. Not knowing when his next template will unlock or if it'll be a gold tier, he admits the Star Thunder Titan template remains his best shot at peak power. To pull it off, he needs high-grade plant-type monster cores that sync with the fusion template, especially those in blue, purple, and gold. He's also thinking about mastering the Zuan Huang martial arts. If his template can adapt to the martial rhythm field, then refining his body is crucial. Xuan Huang techniques grow slower than templates, but have greater potential. He believes that's exactly why he was brought into this world. A month has passed since the An City crisis, and the city has erected a statue honoring Mayor Hangqing's sacrifice. The top scorer sits on a bench in a local park, watching a news broadcast about the devastation from the Beast Tide. The report reveals the Beast Tide hit 18 cities across the Xia nation, 12 of which were completely overrun. Among them, Guangshan City suddenly disappeared into a top-tier secret realm. To unravel this mystery and save its residents, 30 Xuan Wu martial artists along with 5 grandmasters, led by Du Jingming from the prestigious Xia Dragonfinch organization, were dispatched. After everything that unfolded, Guan City has now become the 12th global death zone, with over 1,800,000 casualties. Shocked by these grim stats, he realizes he can't just stand by, though he seems to already have a plan. He quickly calls Qin, who answers, expecting him to ask for the remaining 2 Xuan Huang manuals. Chuckling nervously, he tells her he plans to gather high-quality plant-type monster cores, preferably blue, purple, or even gold tier ones, and asks for her assistance. She immediately points out how incredibly rare his request is. Lord-class cores cost a fortune, and since he's aiming that high, she expects something valuable in return. He explains that Huadu University is holding a realm trial for new students and plans to team up with Qingshu to help her claim first place. That's his bargain. However, she believes he's underestimating other city elites and honestly tells him her daughter ranks only around mid to upper tier. Plus, she adds that even if he bested her daughter in sparring, he's nowhere near being a true powerhouse himself. With confidence, he replies that he's the one destined to revive the Liu family legacy. Interestingly, he seems fully aware that's why she's backed him from the beginning. He's even willing to sign a promissory note. If he fails to help Qingshu win, he'll devote his life as the family's servant. She finds his offer amusing and decides to help him this time. Meanwhile, Yi arrives at An City's central hospital to visit Chuzhou. But just as he steps inside, a crowd of self-proclaimed fans blocks his path, showering him with love and admiration. Wriggling free from the throng, he reaches the room where his friend lies, bandaged head to toe. To lift the mood, he cracks silly jokes about his friend's sorry state. Just then, a stranger greets him. The top scorer doesn't recognize him at first, but the stranger introduces himself as Luan, his very first opponent in the tournament. The top scorer is shocked to see Luan's leg amputated, but Luan asks him not to pity him so much his leg isn't completely lost yet. Worst case scenario, he'll get regenerative surgery or a combat prosthetic. Impressed by Luan's optimism despite his injury, the top scorer respects him as a true fighter. Suddenly, he receives a call from an unknown number. Thinking it's spam, he prepares to block it. Just then, the principal from his old school calls, warning him that he's about to block an important Huadu University contact and tells him to unblock the caller. After unblocking, Wang Tao, a Huadu admissions officer, informs him that a special train will pick him up in 3 days. While Yiha discusses the offer, his friend also receives an invitation to Huadu from Professor Liu. Meanwhile, seeing his rivals snag invitations, Luan feels left out and upset. Before enrollment, Yiho recalls something urgent he needs to handle. A few days later, at Swan Crater Lake, he arrives to disperse the thick ash and smoke hanging in the air. He activates the infinite monster template to ensure success. His fight with the blood-eyed ape boosted the Demoner's sync rate by 1.5%. A huge leap in training 3 days straight added another 6%. He's glad this place paid off. After completing his goal, he decides it's time to move on. Elsewhere, Chuzhou waits for him so they can catch the train to Huadu together. Flying at nearly Mach 1 speed, Yihao lands at the station. The laid-back martial artist senses his arrival before he even touches down, acknowledging how much stronger his friend has become. Boarding the train, Yihao realizes this is his first stop since his transmigration journey started. With that, he bids farewell to the city. Noticing Yihao fidgeting awkwardly, avoiding sitting still in his seat, his best friend tells him to chill out and not make everything so serious. He then explains that everyone on this train is a top scorer from various cities of the Xia Kingdom, and adds that this train is built with next-generation alloys. He first tells him that everyone on this train is a top scorer from different cities across the Xia Kingdom, then explains that this train is built with next-generation alloys, meaning it can withstand massive force without breaking apart. The top scorer used life sense to scout around and spotted a few serious heavy hitters overseas, but none could last beyond 5 moves against him. Suddenly, the driver reports the train is under attack by unknown forces, triggering a level 1 alert. While the professors and staff assess the chaos, students are ordered to evacuate the carriages immediately. Panic breaks out among everyone on board. Some speculate this is a test from Huadu University, while others suspect an enemy nation is behind it. Chujo asks his friend, who's just about to take a nap, for his thoughts. Since the top scorer went full throttle before arriving here, he now wants to rest and recover. However, this threat isn't something to delay, so he opts to investigate. At the entrance of the carriage ahead, a badly injured freshman named Zhou Jing Xian crashes into them. He tells Yi the first 3 carriages have already been overrun. The enemy uses dimensional fields to pull people into isolated spaces where fights don't spill over. Inside that space lurks something terrifying, hunting everything. To make things worse, the Wanwu instructors guarding the train reported a massive death toll. Those instructors risked their lives to push him out of that space, to warn the others. He emphasizes this isn't a drill, which sharpens their focus. Just as Zhou Jingshan finishes, a freshman named Yan Jiangsong demands proof. He's suspicious, mainly because Zhou claims to be the only survivor. Plus, he's got a powerful friend up front who's top-ranked. Frustrated, he decides to lead a group to the front carriages with other freshmen following close behind. Seeing their disbelief, Zhou Jingxian warns that they're walking straight into a death trap. Turning to the top scorer, he asks if he's Yi, having sensed an unusual emotional field around him. The top scorer asks how he knows that. Joining Cian explains a girl named Lu Qing. Shu showed him Yi's photo and asked him to pass along a message. No matter what, Yi must not go forward. He shockingly reveals she took a blade meant for him and was seriously wounded. He says he'll fulfill her last wish and make sure Yi survives. Just before he says something even more outrageous, the top scorer smacks him on the head and reminds him he's talking about her last wishes when she's not even dead yet. Annoyed by the drama, Chujo draws his sword and fires an energy burst toward the freshman. The freshman blocks it and calls both of them thugs. Irritated, the top scorer knee kicks him in the stomach and then shows some mercy by giving him the blood chi pill. Once they finish with the freshman, they rush to rescue Chingu and soon arrive at the entrance to the dimensional space the freshman mentioned. Hyo tries inspecting the entrance by tossing in a briefcase. When there's no response, no sound, no feedback, not even his life sense picks up any energy, he concludes the freshman must have gone inside. Without hesitation, he jumps into the portal with Chujo. Once inside the dimensional space, he starts feeling sick. But what worries him most is that his friend has vanished. He can't find him anywhere. Despite that, he presses onward and soon finds himself in a ruined city. Realizing he can't use life sense, he wonders if something is blocking it. To work around this, he climbs a building and shoots an energy beam up into the sky. Hidden deep in the ruined city, the martial artists still alive witness Yi's explosive attack. They're wondering which big shot is showing off such dazzling power. Qing Shu gets emotional, recognizing her friend's strike, though she's still worried about him. His flashy attack caught not only his soon-to-be classmates' attention, but even the enemy's. The enemy wears a pig mask and wields a machete. The top scorer wastes no time and lunges at him. But the enemy takes Yi's nuclear fist blow head-on without blinking. The enemy retaliates by stabbing him with a machete, but it's useless against Yi's super-fast healing. He grins, talking about his regeneration, showing the enemy that his sheer muscle power alone can jam the blade. He's caught off guard by the enemy's weapon. It slices through his defense like it's made of paper. He grabs the enemy's jaw, forces his mouth open, and blasts a magic energy beam straight from his mouth into the enemy, successfully tearing his head right off. Inside the mask, he finds a pendant and wonders if this is part of a Huadu challenge where you have to secure the loot. He figures the mask guy's weapon must have been enhanced with the chi of a high-level martial artist. It was razor-sharp until the energy faded. Curious about the pendant he just found, he starts to think his mission is to hunt down more pig-masked enemies and snatch the pendants from their helmets. Just as he's wrapping his head around being in some kind of battle royal, another enemy sneaks up behind him. Though he senses the attack coming, he still gets caught off guard. Still, the weak attack doesn't hurt him. Then, he unleashes the armored Zodiac unit to strike back hard. He goes all in against the new threat, blasting down an entire building in a single shot. Everything happens so fast he didn't catch a glimpse of the enemy's face, which now sparks his curiosity. Closing in, he confirms it's a rabbit-themed mask, definitely Zodiac style. When Yuho tries to attack again, the enemy cleverly shifts his trajectory midair, changing direction to strike when there's a perfect opening. But right at the critical moment, an ice wall shield freezes the rabbit-masked enemy in place. Chujo lunges forward, but the enemy easily dodges out of reach. The rabbit-masked fighter tries to counter with his sharp spear, only to get overwhelmed by the opponent's ice magic. Just as he's pushed back, Yuho seizes the chance and crushes him in his palm. A few minutes earlier, a group of survivors hiding across the ruined city wonder if he's even alive. They guess he must be, since even with 10 of them combined, they couldn't land a single scratch on those masked enemies. One of the survivors, a martial artist woman, thinks whoever came in blasting those light beams must have gotten into Huodu University purely by luck. She's heard that big names like Yanjiang Song and Yuang from Madu, Lan Yusi from Shendu, and Shinshin from Lei Island have already started hunting these evil masked guys. It's pretty unbelievable. What's more, she believes this year's top rank will come from that group. They're just that powerful. But then she remembers that Huodu locals always dominate the top spots, and the C-Nation students don't stand a chance. Suddenly, another crazy blast, a railgun, catches them completely off guard. Watching from another part of the ruined city, a few of those strongest freshmen admit that the blast probably came from one of their own. Yu Yangzi, a Huodu elite, grows curious about someone outside their ranks holding that kind of power. Between him and Jiang Song, they've already collected the rat, dog, monkey, and horse pendants. Lan Yusi from Shendu probably grabbed the goat pendant. Shinshen from Lei Island has the snake pendant, and Qingzhu, who seems allied with them, took down the meaner and got the ox pendant. Assuming these masked folks follow the zodiac pattern, only 5 pendants are left: pig, rabbit, rooster, tiger, and dragon. The dragon masked fighter is like an invincible boss, a death trap. No one survives. The only option is to run. He's sure whoever fired the blue beam has at least some pendants. On top of that, he thinks Shin Chen and Lan Yusi will be drawn there too. With that, this battle is entering its final phase, and if they want to win, they'll have to steal from the others. Meanwhile, Chuchu notices the boar pendant in his friend's hand and asks him about it. Yiho explains that before arriving here, he took out a warrior with a pig mask and pulled this pendant right from his helmet. Seems like he's figured out how this trial works, by collecting all the zodiac pendants hidden in the masked fighters. His friend also understands they're actively hunting down these masked enemies. The top scorer tells him about another masked enemy he spotted earlier on a rooftop, one that escaped during the chaos. Luckily, that enemy's arrow grazed him, so he can track him down. While on the trail, they come across a site showing clear signs of battle. Yiho figures someone beat them to it. His friend backs him up, confirming the burn marks are still warm. As he examines them, he suddenly senses someone nearby. Instantly, he unleashes his ice magic to reveal the hidden enemy, uncovering a girl, Lan Yusi, the notorious freshman who had been relying on optical stealth. Right behind Lan Yusi, another well-known freshman from Lei Island, Shin Chen, joins the fray. He activates his gene art, Flame Demon Physique, to launch an attack at Chuzhou. But the top scorer steps in, intercepting the assault and saving his friend using his demon pendant strike since his gene art is on cooldown. He blames Yusi for her weak optical stealth. Approaching them, he questions if they were lying in ambush. The girl explains that they just took down a guy in a chicken mask and were keeping low to catch more masked foes. Still skeptical, the top scorer grabs her by the neck, revealing she's actually a clone of Lan Yusi. Acknowledging that her decoy was spotted, she respects their skills. Meanwhile, her partners seem to expect this exact outcome. Tossing away his cigarette, he declares he'll show her how it's truly done. Lan Yusi exhales toxic smoke, forcing the duo to pull back. Just moments later, Yusi unleashes Windrise to jump into the battle. Even with such a grand attack, Chen isn't finished. He casually fires off a heat burst, intending to wipe out the opposition. Believing they were knocked out cold, Chen mocks them to laugh it off. As he finishes, Yeha applauds and disperses Chen's flame cloud. Before he can react to Yea's strength, the top scorer's punch sends him crashing back. None of these heavy hitters have reached true martial artist rank yet, not Yusi, not Chen. They're all stuck at the martial disciple level, held back by an invisible barrier on their physical potential. Even Huodu freshmen have a slight edge at this stage, but Yusi has never faced anyone like Yeha, whose physique defies all usual limits. Since she was focused on the top scorer, Chuzhou casts ice magic on her feet, freezing them to keep her from escaping. Realizing the tide has turned, she admits even with Chen, they can't win. Choosing the logical move, she tries to run. But midair, the top scorer grabs her ankle and slams her face first into the ground. As he prepares to strike again, the girl uses hollow chaos steps to try and escape. Watching her make a break for it, he smirks for a moment, then unleashes flesh-bound demonic art, Shadow of the Demon Realm, restraining her from fleeing. Since she can't get away, he orders her to surrender. Lan Yusi finally gives in, handing over all the pendants she's collected. He tells her none of this would have happened if she'd been honest from the start and urges her to spill everything she knows. She explains to win the trial, they must gather all 12 pendants, Since they're in the final stage, other contestants will try to snatch the pendants from him, even if he doesn't make the first move. She adds, Yuang and Yan Jiang Song from Evil City are top freshmen who probably already grabbed quite a few pendants. Seeing no chance of victory, she offers to guide him to the elite freshman, hoping to stir up some trouble. He tells her she shouldn't be worrying about that. Meanwhile, Zay and Jen Shang are closing in on the spot where they detected the blue burst. Zay figures their friends have likely already found them, and the outcome of the fight doesn't really matter. Whoever wins, they'll just steal the pendants afterward. Shortly after, they find a body split in half, and as they get closer, they realize it's Chen. A few minutes earlier, after battling Yeha and barely escaping, Chen was ambushed by the dragon mask enemy. Shocked by the sight, he couldn't react and was cut clean in two. While Jen Shang wonders why Chen ended up dead there, Zay seems to already know who's behind it. He explains that only the dragon mask could pull off such a clean, one-hit kill. Yet the dragon mask was supposed to be working in the underground parking garage. At the time, he took over 20 freshmen underground to find Z. Now, only the two of them have made it out alive. They assumed this trial wasn't meant to be lethal, but the dragon mask wiped them all out. Zhang Zhang asks what their next move should be now that Chen's pendant is gone. He's also pretty sure the dragon mask might have left the underground parking lot because the rookie must have met some condition, like defeating all the masked enemies. If that's true, then the boss can move freely now and will actively hunt down the rookies just like the other Zodiac masked fighters did. Taking on the dragon mask head-on is nearly impossible. That's why Yuang's goal is to reach the others and grab their pendants first. He can't let the enemy get their hands on the others. With a solid plan in mind, he shifts into his ultimate form and sends out a signal to gather the other pendant holders. He's looking for a showdown that will settle who wins this trial. Somewhere in the abandoned city, the injured Qing Zhu reflects on how she ended up there. She was supposed to catch a bus to Huadu but somehow got pulled into this creepy dead city. She seems aware of Dragon Mask's killings and met a teacher who promised to get one person out, but she won't leave without her friend. Though she's too weak to search for him now, she's confident he won't lose to anyone given his crazy brute strength, unless he faces Dragon Mask, that is. Suddenly, she senses someone else has found her, realizing another party has spotted her and will try to snatch the pendant. Even though she isn't too worried about that, she feels her fake fiancé really needs those pendants. Right now, her plan is just to bait the enemy over there. Turns out, it was Z's signal that gave her away. Watching from above, he spots that the figure down below is Qing Zhu. She seems to have the ox pendant, and he also realizes she's trying to lure him into the underground parking lot where Dragon Mask is waiting. He thinks she's a fool, since Dragon Mask has already left, and there's nothing left in that lot. He tells Zhang Shan to wait for him there and goes after her to catch her. Chasing Qing Zhu, he calls out that she can't run. Just then, he feels a dark energy nearby. Alarmed, he looks around and sees Dragon Mask's silhouette. That's impossible since Dragon Mask should be chasing the other pendant holders right now. Sensing the enemy's murderous intent, he questions if the targets really have the pendants. Holding 4 pendants himself, he's sure the Dragon Mask would come for him first. Crushing pressure overwhelms him, making him admit he got cocky and walked right into danger. Just as he tries to escape, the enemy pulls him into his domain. It's a technique triggered by eye contact with the caster, and Z was forced into it. Now that he's caught his prey, Dragon Mask strikes without hesitation. Elsewhere, Eha and Chucho are facing off against Zheng. Apparently, they saw Z's signal and followed it here, running into him directly. The laid-back martial artist tells his buddy to take this fight because he wants to test his strength. To their surprise, the enemy overhears and suddenly lunges at them. Chucho dodges with a move called Ice Vein but gets attacked again. This time, he counters by blocking with the Wind Soul Severing Blade. Zheng is turning out to be a solid opponent. He fights as one with his blade and fearlessly pushes his opponent back. After exchanging several tough but inconclusive blows, they both unleash bigger weapons, magical beasts. Meanwhile, Eha watches the fight, looking totally bored. All of a sudden, Zheng Xiang picks up a distress signal from his best friend, making him anxious. He tells his opponent he needs to go, but the top scorer isn't about to let him leave. He throws a massively powerful punch, catching Zheng off guard and knocking him several yards back. Zheng thinks he was hit by a simple magical beast. The top scorer steps up, admits it was him, and complains about Zheng's awful shrieking. Zhang Shan thinks it's an ambush, but Yi corrects him, saying it wasn't an ambush, his fists just moved faster than his brain. Annoyed by how his enemy put it, Zheng vows to kill him. Yet, only 3 minutes later, he's flat on the ground, completely beaten. Still, he takes pride in lasting the full 3 minutes against the top scorer. The latter tells him not to look so defeated. After all, Chen only took a couple of hits. Checking out the elite freshman's sword, Yi thinks it could use some fine-tuning. Meanwhile, His buddy informs him that the pendant they grabbed from the enemy is glowing. It's probably sending out a signal. Inside Dragon Mask's domain, Yuang is barely holding onto his sanity. He never imagined this would happen. He used every relic he bought from the Secret Realm ruins, all of them, and this was his limit. To seal Dragon Mask's martial energy and power flow, you have to strike right at his heart. Even after losing an arm, he still couldn't land a blow on Dragon Mask's heart, missing by only a few centimeters. In his last moments, Z realizes he's out of moves. He accepts defeat as the enemy drives a sword through his chest. Exhausted and gasping, Chingu climbs the stairs to the rooftop of the tallest building in the dead city. She knows Dragon Mask will come for her once he's done with Yuang, so she plans to bring her friend up here and escape together. When she reaches the roof, she'll send a flare signal just like Yi did earlier. This flare will help them reunite by triggering blood awakening Nether Sparrow. She manages to send the signal, but using that much energy knocks her out. Just as she hopes her friend got the message, she hears Dragon Mask's footsteps. Looking down from the rooftop, she sees the villain closing in fast. She panics, realizing she's been spotted so quickly, and thinks about sending another flare to warn her friend to stay away. But then Dragon Mask suddenly appears, activating his domain and ready to strike. Tears fill her eyes as she prepares for the worst, but just in time, her friend swoops in to save her. As he comes down, he reminds her of the promise he made to her parents, and being a man of his word, he won't abandon her. The top scorer swings his sword at lightning speed, stalling the enemy's advance for a moment. Turning to Chingu, he tells her to head to Eastern Alley, where Jung Song, Chuzhou, and the little brother he just took in are waiting. As for him, he'll handle Dragon Mask. Once he regains his footing, Dragon Mask makes a grand entrance, slicing a whole building clean in two as he faces off. He admits that when he got Ching Shu's distress signal, he knew something felt off about this place. Aiho mocks him for fighting like a turtle hiding in a tiny garden. Spotting the nail stuck in the enemy's chest, he guesses it's the plan Jung Song talked about to deal with Dragon Mask. As the enemy charges, the top scorer draws his sword, matching Dragon Mask's speed with his quick reaction. Though confident at first, Ye now struggles to hold back Dragon Mask. At the critical moment, he shifts into his magical beast form and unleashes a blue burst of energy at the enemy. Since Dragon Mask is the first real challenge Ye's faced in this world, he respects his strength and knows this fight won't be easy. Suddenly, his eyes land on the enemy's face. His mask is cracked open, leaving part of it exposed. To Ye, that looks more fitting. After all, the unstoppable boss Qianlong was never going down without a fight. At least everyone thought so. With its mask broken, Dragon Mask moves faster and hits harder. In seconds, he overwhelms Ye and shatters his blade in two. After breaking the sword, Dragon Mask seizes the chance and tries to strike Ye from behind. But the top scorer's lightning-fast reflexes let him block the attack with his teeth. Next, he counters with a punch straight to the enemy's gut, catching him totally off guard. Landing these solid hits, he starts to overpower Dragon Mask. Still, he says he's not finished and hurls another powerful punch. When Dragon Mask fought Z shoved Bronze Spike into his chest, disrupting his energy flow and blocking his meridians. The top scorer targets Dragon Mask's vital points and meridians with strikes charged with deadly energy to cause deep internal damage. Suddenly, Dragon Mask kicks his sword into the air and hurls it at the top scorer. Luckily, Yi had already predicted this cheap trick and reacted quickly. The first time Dragon Mask caught him off guard with a one-shot attack, it was because of missing info. Even then, the enemy only had about a 30% chance of winning. But the battle isn't over yet. The top scorer comes back swinging with two insanely powerful punches, delivered one right after the other. After landing those two hits, the top scorer isn't finished. He follows up with his Mountain Black Fist. The Black Flash attack sends the enemy flying through several buildings before he crashes into one. Yiho thought Dragon Mask would be stronger, but after their clash, he realizes this so-called feared boss isn't as tough as everyone said. Just as Dragon Mask is about to fire back at his taunt, the top scorer aims for his head, slicing it clean off. With the last of the Zodiac Mask ones down, he grabs the dragon pendant and starts thinking about wrapping up the trial. Not long after, the top scorer meets back up with Zheng Sang, Chuzhou, Qingsu, and the others who've been quietly waiting for him. Qinggu really wanted to go with him herself or at least send someone along, but the top scorer's laid-back buddy tells her that everyone except Yi would just have been a distraction. Looking back, she agrees. She was badly hurt at that time and couldn't use her martial techniques. If she'd gone with him, she would have only gotten in his way. Noticing she's lost in thought, he leans in and asks if he can borrow her ox pendant. Soon after, he gathers all 12 zodiac pendants from the group and lays them out in a random order. When nothing happens, the chill martial artist guesses they must be arranged wrong. As they're trying to figure out the problem, Jung Seong steps forward to say the dragon pendant wasn't made to be one of the masked hunters. It's actually a specialized hunter meant to wipe out pendant holders. So basically, the dragon pendant is useless if they want to clear the trial. Surprisingly, the pendants that didn't react at first start shaking violently when they touch. Seconds later, a bright cloud forms in the sky, and suddenly an eye appears in it. This massive eye sucks the top scorer in, and he wakes up aboard the Huadu train. It's not just him. Every freshman on the train returns, even those who died. Once everyone's snapped back to reality, an announcement comes through the train radio. The train attendant, probably an instructor, explains that everyone was trapped inside a magical illusion created by an artifact called the Mirage Eye. This was the first-year freshman trial for Imperial Capital University. Then, another announcement names Yihei, Qingzhou, and Chuzhou as the top scorers for collecting all the Zodiac pendants. Plus, the top scorer gets a special prize for his outstanding performance upon enrollment. The freshmen are stunned by the news. No one expected a stranger to snag first place. The top scorer system notifies him he outperformed all the freshmen during the trial and rewards him with one template draw. The template turns out to be a D-class level 13 called Vampire Racco. Yiho celebrates drawing this vampire racer. Luckily, the evolved form of this template can freeze time. While he's still celebrating, Z and his friend approach, and Z asks if he's the one who took down Dragon Mask. The top scorer corrects him, saying he didn't just defeat the enemy, he killed him. Z stuns all the freshmen by inviting Yi to join his new club at Huadu as president, even though it's not started yet. He explains that locals at Huadu control the student council and top freshmen every year, then holds out his hand for a handshake, saying he hopes his strength will shake up Huadu's traditions. But the top scorer declines, saying he prefers to roll solo. After his refusal, they decide to leave. Before walking away, Z hands him a business card. Soon, the train pulls into Huadu City, a bustling metropolis. As the freshmen disembark, they're shown to an aircraft and told to take seats according to their roll numbers. Spotting Xing Shu heading toward the plane, he sneaks up behind her and startles her. At that moment, she remembers her mother's warning not to let her fake fiancé take advantage of her in public, even if they're only engaged in name. Snapping back to reality, she yells at him, but he quickly explains he just wanted to ask why they're flying and blames her mother for marrying her off to a country bumpkin. She points up at the sky, telling him that's the direction where Huadu University is located. Shortly after, once on board the plane, he gazes out the window at the stunning city of Huadu, powered by its cutting-edge technology. As the plane moves through the electromagnetic net, he notices the detection range shrinking, making him realize just how prestigious Huadu University actually is. After the plane touches down, he receives an ID card and is directed to the Maglev station, where a train will take him to his dorm. Arriving at the Huadu dorms, he beats his chest with pride, unintentionally unsettling some fellow freshmen. Yiho's room is on the 42nd floor, Unit A3, while Chuzhou steps off the elevator on the 45th floor, Unit B7. Upon entering, the top scorer discovers his dorm is a roomy 100 square meter single, something that almost feels like a dream. He also finds a brand new, fully loaded computer and a massage bath, which only boosts his excitement. After sinking into the warm, cozy bed, he knows it's time to get serious. For starters, he plans to max out the Vampire Record template. On the Maglev ride back, he figures out how to use his student ID to log into Huadu's exclusive apps, including Huadu Pass. The Academy City Marketplace is only accessible with a Huadu Pass, and it runs strictly on Academy points as its digital currency. Luckily, he already converted over 30 million coins into Academy points at the bank. Checking his phone, he realizes that 100,000 coins equal just 1 point, a total daylight robbery. But the Academy Marketplace stocks serious gear, including items you won't find on the regular market. He names this exclusive access one of the perks of being a Huadu student. He plans to buy just the Blood Attribute Magic Core. Soon after, drones arrive, delivering his package with blue and green cores. After eating all the cores at once, his Vampire Record template compatibility shoots up to 100%. However, the price is a painful stomachache. Beyond the ache, the template's effects are amazing. His fangs have grown sharper, and even his fingernails have followed suit. Suddenly, a bold idea hits him, and he digs his sharp nails into his neck. After slitting his throat and coughing up blood, Yiho's vampire regeneration quickly kicks in. Though the bodily changes are noticeable, what really matters to him is his new power, Crimson Calamity. Moments later, at the Huadu University dorm training grounds, he summons a record to train with. He commands the magical beast to give its all, and it responds with a powerful surge that pushes him to his limits. When he calls for a timeout, he activates Crimson Calamity's time freeze ability, which he can hold for only 5 seconds. If he tries to push past that, his body starts fighting back, forcing him to stop at 5.4 seconds. The body's original owner managed 5 seconds, but he feels lucky to have beaten that record. The next morning, walking toward the athletic hall with his best buddy, he notices he's started to dislike sunlight, though it's nothing major. Chujo asks if he's caught wind of Hwadu University's new academic reform, since he was busy fighting Rakud last night. He shrugs and says he hasn't heard anything. The easygoing martial artist explains Hwadu is ditching the old classroom style and moving to a group mentorship system. This means each academic year students study under a main mentor, supported by assistant mentors. When Yu says they need to find mentors, his best friend mentions everyone but him has to. He reveals an announcement was made last night. Since the top scorer collected all 12 zodiac pendants, the school's allowing him to handpick any mentor he wants. Arriving at the athletics hall, they find it packed. While his friend jumps in line, Yiho decides to take a stroll. Since he can choose his mentor whenever, he isn't worried about timing. As he steps outside the hall, he catches a strange scent of blood. If it were ordinary, it wouldn't be that odd. But this blood carries a fierce, hidden intent like a sea of murder and sin lying beneath. Following the scent trail, he finds a girl feasting on organs. Yiho is shocked to discover that this cute little girl is the source of such a terrifying aura. Just as he starts wondering if he might have the wrong person, she suddenly asks if he's been using the flesh-binding demon prison. When he asks how she knows, the little girl says she helped Xiao refine that technique. Hearing that name, the top scorer recalls a moment he'd rather forget. The girl adds that Liu Chong was her disciple 90 years ago. Assuming she's just teasing him, he points out that true martial artists can live longer than average folks, and grandmasters can still be in top shape in their 90s, but he just can't wrap his head around how she looks like a preteen. He knows some martial artists can compress their bodies to look kid-sized. On top of that, he believes her level of purity isn't an act, it's something so real that not even an Oscar could capture it. Still, he throws out some sarcastic comments, which only annoy her. She shows a flash of her power and traps him in a deadly illusion, so intense it shakes him to his core. Her murderous intent was so strong it made him hallucinate he was about to be beheaded. Just as he tries to speak, she shoves a strawberry gummy into his mouth and apologizes for going overboard. The truth is, she's scared of the school authorities and doesn't want him tattling. Calling herself pitiful, she mentions she only gets 1 or 2 hours outside each week. Curious, he asks who she really is. The girl introduces herself as Gong Kei, a powerful grandmaster. She adds an interesting tidbit she once made, Shi Jinwen, president of Hwadu University, cry. Admitting that Gonko refined the Xuan Huang martial art, he believes she could help him break through his current limits. As a slaughter-type grandmaster, she's the perfect fit for him. He begs her to take him on as her disciple. Hearing his plea, she makes a strange face. Inside the Hwadu University gym, the deans of all 5 Hue University departments are acting as this year's new student mentors. Being a disciple of any of them would basically guarantee success for life. But it's highly unlikely they'd waste time on nobodies like most of the new students, who all think the deans have nothing to do with them. The reality is, the deans are actually here for the top scorer, who completed the Zodiac trial. What the freshmen don't realize is that the Zodiac trial was broadcast live with every teacher at Hua University watching. Right from the train broadcast beginning, the faculty analyzed how each student handled an unprecedented crisis. This was all made possible by AI, which studied microexpressions and reaction patterns. Each student's response was scored, and those who rushed into Zodiac City unprepared got poor marks. Unsurprisingly, Yehi was the only student to get perfect scores across the board. But even that didn't impress the deans. What really blew their minds was that the top scorer killed a boss who wasn't even meant to be fought. The boss was the untouchable death-level Channel Long, a battle model designed by Nuwa, the nation's supercomputer trained on data from Fu Hong, a national-level martial artist who entered Hua University years ago. Though not all of Fu Hong's skills could be fully copied in the Mirage realm, Fu Hong remains the strongest martial artist in Xia Nation's history, possibly the entire world's. For Yehai to have defeated a model based on him, even if imperfect, is proof of his monstrous talent. As long as nothing holds him back, he's sure to reach Archmaster level. Now, the deans just wait for him to pick his mentor. Just as they wait, word comes in that the top scorer wants to become Gong Kei's disciple, former Imperial University professor and current special personnel. Back to Yehi. He's hugging and pleading in front of Grandmaster Gong Kei, begging her to accept him as her disciple. Despite her humble appearance, she's actually over 100 years old. That's why he boldly kneels to her in broad daylight. She responds by saying she might have been expelled from Imperial University before. He grabs her and says he'll restore her freedom in 2 years only if she takes him as her disciple. Without hesitation, she agrees. Suddenly, the deans of all 5 Hua University departments appear before Yehi and Gong Kei to confront her. One of the 5 deans politely reminded her that she promised not to interact with students during her release hour. He also mentioned that her current mental state isn't ideal for combat. Every dean there wants her to head home right away. Gonka asks the top scorer his name and tells him to come with her. Following Grandmaster Gon, they arrive at the Huadu Research Institute, where she lives. She explains this place has been her home, mainly because of past issues where she hurt others. She adds that over the years, she's learned to control herself better, so she's now allowed some occasional freedoms. His cheesy remarks make her realize he has a pretty quirky way of thinking. As they walk down the hallway, he notices how narrow it's gotten. She says it's that way on purpose since only she's supposed to pass through it. When he spots a timer by the door, he asks what it's for. Just as he mentions the countdown, she quickly heads for her room and tells him to follow. While running, she explains that every time she leaves, that clock starts ticking. If she doesn't return on time, an alarm goes straight to the Huadu headmaster's office. If that happens, the university hunts her down. She barely makes it inside before time runs out, and Yi notices his martial energy can't gather properly outside. This means all martial arts skills are seriously weakened here. Ganka calls this place her confinement cell because, to keep her from running off, Xu Jingwen and his team built her this massive, 3-story house stocked with everything from entertainment to training rooms. Everything she could want is right here. Plus, layers of powerful magnetic suppressors are set up to disrupt martial energy in case she tries to break free. While she sees the institute as a prison, the top scorer thinks of it as a luxury suite. Meanwhile, President Shuing learns via phone that Yi has become Gon Kei's disciple. The president tells the caller that their mission isn't just to train average talent. They're raising someone who will carry the future of Xia and all humanity. When a true prodigy shows up, their job is to fully back them. He wants the top scorer to train under Gon Kei. With the special freshman training camp wrapping up, Yi will be the whetstone sharpening their skills. Later, he's told that Gon Kei returned to the confinement zone on time and that everything's stable. However, predictive analytics still flag her as a threat, even with company. The president calculates the top scorer's odds of survival and figures they're slim at best. The special class fighters are either death row inmates with incredible strength or martial artists with uncontrollable powers. Their free time is limited, but when CIA faces a major crisis, these fighters are sent to the front lines as national weapons. He hopes the new generation grows up fast. At the confinement room B3 level training hall, she admits it's been decades since she last taught someone and decides to start with a sparring match to gauge his level. Before they begin, she lowers her cultivation to the martial stage to match him. Once he's ready, he signals her, and the fight kicks off instantly. He doesn't want a repeat of that guillotine illusion from before, so he's going all out. In a flash, she lunges at his throat. He tries at least 5 dodge moves, but all fail. She's reading his moves like an open book. With no other choice, he shifts into his magical beast form to take her attack straight on. She grins, realizing he's using his bloodline awakening to boost speed, defend, and counter all at once. But she jumps over him, grabs his shoulder, reminds him she's faster, and slams him hard to the ground. The impact causes him to bleed all over. Grandmaster didn't hold back. She went full throttle, and as a result, his bloodline awakened back to normal. Tasting the blood on her face, she murmurs it's been ages since she last tasted blood. Knowing he's no match in physical combat, he tells her he's about to get a little unfair with his martial arts. He unleashes the mega humanoid template, feeling lucky that he maxed it out overnight. Grandmaster, meanwhile, he's just as amazed by her skill. Even though he's still a martial disciple, she feels like she's up against some kind of monster. She announces it's her turn to get serious. When their powers collide evenly, Yi gains the upper hand by unleashing her ancestral humanoid form, the armor plate humanoid. His straight punch gets blocked by her spiral smash fist, breaking parts of his armor plate humanoid. He's rattled, admitting she tore through his armor plate humanoid body, which is a flesh-forged armor with defense many times stronger than the mega humanoid. Even with his vital signs suppressed, she still senses him and darts directly at his face, the spot where he's hiding inside the armor plate humanoid. But he activates the split form, meteor humanoid just in time, shooting quills from his body. Before the quills reach her, she shifts her path and pulls back. Having pushed her master back, he gets ready for another strike, daring her to try cutting through what's next. Just as he finishes, he slips into a hallucination again. Back in the same place, trapped by the guillotine, unable to free himself. Trying to escape, he summons Zawarudo. He realizes he pushed Grandmaster too far, and now she's trapped him in her world. He also knows this isn't the real world. It's a mental illusion born of her bloodlust. To break free, he has to fight back with raw mental strength. Moments later, he opens his eyes and finds himself beside her. He guesses she must have forcefully pulled him out of the humanoid form. Even more, she broke the hardened outer layer crystallized to protect his real body. But that's not something a martial disciple should manage, which makes him think she must have cheated. She argues she fought fairly, though she admittedly used a bit more strength than intended. She admits she sometimes misjudges her power in early strikes, but when their eyes meet, Yihei's expression clearly shows he isn't buying it. Through tears, she promises she won't cheat next time. Even though she's enjoyed herself for the first time in decades, she doesn't want him to leave now. While telling her to stop crying, he reassures her he's not going anywhere. He points out that he worked hard to become her disciple. It wouldn't make sense for him to walk away. Later, she says she has a good read on his strength. Even though he's far from her level, she admits he's naturally talented. Now they can train. She asks what he wants to learn. He says he wants to study advanced martial techniques and understand how she sliced through lightning and his humanoids. She calls that move slashing and says it's tricky to teach. She adds that you get a feel for it by cutting lots of stuff. When asked what kind of feel, she explains it's called the line. Whether it's a human body, magical beast, or any object, there's always a perfect point of entry, a line that can be cleanly cut. He notices Gong Kei's style differs from Chenelong's, even though the latter also specializes in slashing. While Chenelong's slash relies on raw power and piercing sharpness, Grandmaster's slash is like a butcher's tool, razor-sharp precision. Since slashing is complex to learn, she suggests he become a martial artist first. Without a solid martial foundation, he isn't qualified to learn most of the techniques. Suddenly, she asks if he knows the difference between a martial disciple and martial artist. Seeing his blank look, she explains it's more than just physical growth. It's about the mind too. Compared to disciples, martial artists gain a crucial new skill, inner vision. With inner vision, a martial artist advances from broad cultivation to detailed micro-level refinement. Through it, they can see their meridians, pressure points, and organs, then use martial energy to strengthen them, pushing the body's limits. She sums it up simply. A strong spirit comes first, then a strong body. Understanding this, he realizes just how great a teacher his master is. No wonder she's a professor at the Imperial University. Even if she's a little crazy, her knowledge hasn't faded one bit. She suddenly remarks she feels a clear boost in her mental state. This will give her a big advantage at the martial artist level. Curious, Yihei asks how the advancement methods change once you hit that level. She explains that advanced techniques and martial skills are divided into 4 ranks: Tiangang, Disha, Xuanhuang, and unranked. Usually, students from vocational schools or less prestigious places only get access to the unranked advanced techniques. The great thing about these is that they're pretty easy to use. Anyone with enough blood, energy, and martial power can push through. More than 80% of martial artists break through by using unranked methods, but how do university students start off with methods at least at the Xuanhuang level? When he shows interest in the other 2 advanced techniques and martial skills, she explains that Tiangang tier skills are basically sacred artifacts. Most were found in hidden realms or ancient ruins, and now, there might be fewer than 10 left worldwide, though he could learn a Disha advancement technique. She herself has mastered the Killer's Bodic Heart Sutra, a Disha-level advancement technique. Even cooler, Xiao's flesh-bound demon cage was inspired by this very method. Hearing her rave about that Disha-level technique, he's hooked and eager to learn it right away. She tells him to prepare for the killing intent domain she crafted, especially for training this skill. And just like that, the training kicks off. Later, after Yihei's class lets out, his best buddy, who's out for a stroll, bumps into him. As Choo-Choo goes to say hi, the top scorer glares at him with a murderous look. Scared, Choo-Choo jumps back. Seeing this, the top scorer apologizes and calls it a reflex. Surprised by that killing intent before, Choo-Choo asks what it was about. Roughly 10 hours earlier, in the illusion realm, Yihei was battling a swarm of zombies. Ganji orders him not to use any martial skills or powers. He has to rely purely on the blade in his hand, but when he says he's worried about facing a large number of zombies, she explains that the goal is for his body to remember how it feels. This way, he adjusts to slicing flesh and cracking bone. Also, it helps train his muscle memory so he instinctively finds the kill spot and strikes better. Once he starts cutting down zombies, his master is amazed by his incredible sword skills. Training inside her Disha technique is risky, and most martial disciples aren't even qualified to attempt it. It's thanks to Yi's unusually high mental stats. Otherwise, the killing intent alone would have consumed him. She now knows why Shi Jin calls him Huadu's rising star. The next morning, after just one day training, he's already feeling wiped out. But he finally understands why this school is the best university in Saya. While he's taking a bath, Qing Shu calls to say her mom sent over what he asked for. It's with her now. She adds that her mom also wanted to thank him for helping her daughter clinch first place in the freshman team trial. He says he'll swing by to pick it up soon, but she insists she'll just send it by drone. After that, he gets her to spill that Dean Bai took her on as a disciple simply because she saw potential in Qing Shu. When she asks who his mentor is, he dodges and doesn't say he turned down 5 deans in a row, knowing she'd probably lose sleep over that. Soon, about halfway through the semester, the first term is wrapping up. Freshmen at Hwadu University have had quite the experience. For example, Z did exactly what he told Yi earlier. He formed the Dragon Blood Society, gathering elites from different provinces. They quickly turned into a powerful force among the first years. This part's less relevant, but after Hwadu students came back from summer camp, tensions flared with Dragon Blood. Duels broke out between Dragon Blood and local students, and unsurprisingly, Z's group took more losses than wins. Right now, the most popular freshman is Shang Jianhui. Actually, he might be the most famous freshman in the entire country. After all, he was the top scorer on the Hwadu entrance exam. During the live stream of the exam, his skills blew everyone away. As for Yi, who once shined at the school, no one even remembers him anymore. It's been 3 months since he faded from the spotlight. At the Hwadu Research Institute, Gonka is assisting him in solidifying his recent breakthrough into the martial artist stage. He's holding a plank on the floor while she climbs onto his back, applying her weight. She claims that each time her foot touches down, she's injecting refined martial energy into him. That energy is infused with her insights into the killer's Bodic Sutra. The top scorer struggles to carry her because she sealed away his martial energy. On top of that, the way her martial energy snakes through his body tickles him almost unbearably. Seeing him complain, she mocks his weakness and casually calls him a scrub. Fueled by irritation, he pushes himself harder, forcing out more and more push-ups. After surpassing 1,000 push-ups, a sudden surge of bloody energy tears through his exhausted muscles, breaking them down and rebuilding them stronger than before. With his new strength gained, he tells her he's heading home since he's been stuck at the institute with her for 3 months straight. When she asks if he'll come back, her emotions get the best of her. He reassures her with a confident yes. Stepping into the city after such a long time, he feels like ages have passed since his last visit. The top scorer isn't out for a casual stroll. He's got some work lined up. At Hwadu, a key part of the grading system is off-campus missions. These can include hunting down wanted martial fugitives or clashing with criminal gangs and foreign forces. He thinks about picking up a mission and catching up with his best friend. Just as he finishes saying this, his friend appears to greet him. Yi asks how his level up is going, and the friend reveals he broke through to the martial artist stage 2 months ago. It's their first reunion in 3 months. On the surface, there's no obvious difference in his friend's build or aura, which actually highlights how terrifying his growth truly is. About 3 days ago, the calm martial artist was invited to watch a private ring match between Hwadu freshman Repang Yan Hui and Dragon Blood Society Vice Chairman Yuang Zi. As expected, Z lasted less than 2 minutes. But what's even more interesting is that Shang Jianhai wasn't even using his full strength. He begins wondering if his insanely strong best friend could take down the current hottest freshman. While they chat, Qingzhu arrives because it's been ages, and she finally gets to meet him face to face. In this joyful moment, she recalls her mother's advice to do things couples would do with Ye. After all, they're supposed to act like a couple at Hwadu. Blushing, she closes her eyes, tilts her head up, and shyly puckers her lips for a kiss. She's left flustered when he jokes that she hasn't even greeted him, despite not seeing each other for 3 months. Now that the three are together, Yi glances at a big screen showing hot missions and standout mission completions. His best friend tells him that he and Chingu have already finished 3 missions beyond their quota. They came specifically to team up with him. While they talk, she, focused on her screen, brings up 3 available missions and lays them out in front of him. She explains all 3 were originally Tier 2, but now one has been bumped to a Tier 3 mission. It's rare for a 3-member squad of first-year students to get approval for Tier 2 missions. However, the top scorer is fine with that. He now holds a privilege card. Earlier during training, Gonka gave him a privilege card and told him to tackle tougher missions. Shaking off the memory, Qingshu asks where he got the privilege card. Right as he starts to get nervous, Chuzhou changes the subject to the missions. He's relieved and mentions the first mission is a pure manhunt with low efficiency. The second offers minor investigative support with little real action. The third puts the whole process in their hands. High risk but high reward, that's the Tier 3 mission, and they both agree it's the most challenging. Later at reception, the receptionist dismisses their request as nonsense, reminding them that a second-year squad was wiped out in Lingwei. When Yiho flashes his privilege card, she refuses to believe it and threatens to report him to the director. But her tone shifts instantly after a call with the director. Once they've gotten what they came for, he tells everyone to get their gear ready while he goes to pick something up. A little later, the top scorer arrives at the College of Mech and Magitech Foundry and meets one of the deans overseeing all 5 Hua University campuses. He lets the dean know he's here to claim the weapon he earned as a prize in the Pendant War. The dean compliments him for skipping the usual Deshare skill path to go straight for a weapon, then presents him with a blade he truly deserves. The sword doesn't have any elemental powers, but it channels martial energy at 95% efficiency. Crafted from the ultra-durable Starfall gold alloy, it stands as a divine blade. The spine is etched with dense sun and moon serrations, which add both weight and impact. Each strike lands with incredible force. The grip's wrapped in anti-slip black leather, woven with fine metal threads. Every cut sweeps through the air with the roar of the wind and a blazing flash of light. Even though the sword was custom-made to his old measurements 3 months ago, it feels perfectly balanced. Not too heavy, not too light, it feels perfectly balanced. Not too heavy, not too light, it fits his hand just right. As he takes his leave, he gives a nod of respect to the dean's weapon, forging skills, and a special shout-out to the blacksmiths at Imperial University. Now armed with his sword, he heads off to Lingwei County with his friends. Upon arrival, Chujo reminds them they're on a covert mission and need to act like ordinary students on an internship. The top scorer blankets the whole county with life field sensing, pushing his Demorna template up to 71% in just half a term. He's doing this because he senses some bad vibes lurking around and wants to handle them before they slip through his fingers. Just as Chujo suggests checking out the house Imperial University set up for them, they get a lift from a 3-wheeled cargo cart. The old driver asks Yihi where he's from and what brings him here. The top scorer explains that he's from Lingwei County but studies in Yunnan, and he's brought 2 classmates along to have some fun. The old man doesn't recognize him, so Yi shares some family details. He names his grandfather, Yishiro, who passed away a few years ago, and mentions that he moved away after that. Before arriving, the top scorer had brushed up on the local Lingwei dialect on the plane, and his cover story actually holds water. Soon after, they reach the Hadu mission base. Just as they're about to thank the old driver for the free ride, he invites them to the biggest triennial event in Lingwei County, happening in 2 days. They thank the man and say their goodbyes. Once inside the house, they notice it hasn't been lived in for over 10 years. It's covered in weeds, and mosquitoes swarm the area, but none of this phases the top scorer. He simply stomps his foot on the ground to clear it. After setting down their luggage, he decides to install micro-cameras around the base for surveillance. Meanwhile, Chingu heads inside to check the house but suddenly calls him over to show something surprising, a shrine, which he says wasn't supposed to be there at all. He explains that the shrine's made of wood, and if it had been there for long, it would have rotted away years ago. Chujo figures someone else must have placed the shrine there recently, and since he doesn't like the look of the statue, he plans to chop it down. King Shu, however, advises against rushing into action, thinking it might be an important clue. To her surprise, when she looks at Yihi, she finds him ready for battle. Unable to argue with their stubbornness, she suggests that at least they should reveal what's under the clay mask before destroying it. As she reaches out and slowly uncovers part of the face, the top scorer senses a dark, evil energy and urges his friend to chop it down immediately. Chuchu swings without hesitation, and to their shock, thick black goo starts oozing out. The top scorer summons Zawarudo, and with its help, the skilled martial artist manages to seal the ooze away. Meanwhile, Qing Shu begins to feel the statue's psychic energy corrupt her, so to pull her out of it, her fake fiancé channels pure martial energy into her. After the dark influence fades, she feels a comforting warmth inside. It seems all the strange Lingwei anomalies are connected to this weird clay statue. Feeling like they've finally found a significant lead, he tells everyone to wait there while he goes off to handle something else. Earlier, when they got off the tricycle, Yihi secretly tagged the old driver with a radiation marker. He's convinced that with perfect timing, he can lure him in. Meanwhile, over in Lingwei County at the Jinshan Buddhist temple, a monk greets the elderly driver warmly, calling him a benefactor, and escorts him to where the abbot is waiting. Pretty soon, they're standing right in front of the abbot, and the monk tells him that the benefactor has passed the blessing criteria and has something to report. The abbot asks the old man what brings him here so suddenly, and what his intentions are. Out of nowhere, one of the monks, looking like a lizard-like creature, senses another presence besides the old man. Just as it's about to attack the old man, suspecting him of betrayal, Yehi swoops down from the sky and crashes face first, completely distorting it. Luckily, thanks to Zawarudo, he avoids getting splattered since Zawaruto keeps all that nastiness at bay. After provoking the foe, all the Buddha statues in the temple suddenly come alive and launch a full-on assault. Zawarudo jumps forward and takes the hits meant for him, but still ends up getting crushed. Now that the enemy's focused on Yehi, he hides his spatial ring and summons his sword, Starfall Cleaver. That sword gives him a solid edge in the battle, but things heat up when the Buddhas start blasting laser beams from their eyes. Still, he weaves through the slow lasers and slices through the rest of the attackers, including the old driver. From the very start, his life field didn't detect any vitality in the 2 bodhisattvas. He's now certain they weren't living beings at all. What puzzles him more is how a remote place like Lingwei County could harbor such advanced constructs. He suspects the answers lie behind the door where the abbot stands, then orders Zawarudo to force it open. Once the entrance swings open, he steps inside and finds a giant Buddha statue. Not seeing anyone around, he calls out for the enemy to come out of their hideout. Before long, a monk shows up and says the temple holds no grudge against him, questioning why he's being disrespectful. It turns out the monk talking to the top scorer was actually a robot, and he already knew it. When he slashes at the enemy, another replica pops up behind him, acknowledging the top scorer's blood karma. Just as he's about to strike again, he falls into a strange area that looks like a sewer with 18 doors. Soon, a massive swarm of lizard beasts, ranging from Tier 1 to Tier 2, starts appearing. Feeling the same energy from the beasts, he's sure they're mass-produced artificial bio-androids. He's planning to wipe out the entire horde with a single strike before they can power up. Summoning Starfall Cleaver, he unleashes Wan Wong's blade art, first form called Thousand Leaves. Grinning wide, he slashes through the enemies with ease, quickly piling up a mountain of bodies and decapitating the robotic monk. It gets under his skin, hearing the same pre-recorded line on loop. Even though he's wreaking havoc in the temple, the puppeteer behind the scenes stays hidden. Just as he's thinking about that, the monk transforms into a towering giant statue and tries to crush him with its hand. But instead of dodging, he braces himself and takes the hit head-on. Moments later, the giant detects an energy surge beyond its limits. The temperature spikes insanely high, and he shifts into his magical beast form, smashing through the giant's hand. Now equal in size, Yehi starts dominating the giant statue. After landing a flurry of punches, he says he's not finished yet and follows up with powerful knee strikes. The enemy suffers critical damage and triggers multiple warnings. Pushed to its edge, the giant fires all its weapons powered by its batteries. It can't believe it's facing someone who can make it unleash so many attacks. Yehi tells it those weapons won't work against a martial artist. Still, the giant keeps attacking using techniques like meteor personification. The top scorer counters with Biocean breath and finally shatters the giant. After his victory, he finds a passage leading downward and without hesitation, he jumps right in. Half an hour earlier, a group of scientists running this evil operation noticed the top scorer entering their territory. When they saw him take down the mechanical bodhisattvas at the gate, they figured the newly built door would definitely stop him. But after he broke into the secret chamber, they believed their cyborg army and tens of thousands of bio units would be enough to halt him. Once again, they were proven dead wrong. The operation's second in command, a scientist, tells the leader, a doctor named Fun, that their last hope is the Mecha Buddha's combat suit, which, unfortunately, was smashed to pieces in the end. With Yehi closing in fast, the doctor decides to use the guards as a stall tactic while he and a few crew members make a run for it to activate the base's self-destruct, preventing any intel from leaking out. Down in the underground lab, Dr. Fang lies slumped in a corner, his frail body shaking as he struggles to catch his breath. Standing calmly before him, Yi's cold eyes are locked on the dying man, searching for the truth behind the deaths of 3 young martial artists and the secrets this place is hiding. The old man weakly reveals he has a monitoring device implanted in his head, which will set off an explosion if he spills any secrets. As he talks, Yihi studies him carefully and notices a decaying tooth deep in his jaw, releasing a faint puff of green smoke. Realizing his time is up, the old man grits his teeth as the poison rushes through his veins, burning his throat and twisting his face in pain. Yihi kneels beside him silently, irritation visible as he concludes the poison was preloaded, just another reckless safeguard from the wild members of Laser Bird. Before Yihi can decide what to do next, the lab lights flash red and a siren blares loudly, signaling the self-destruct sequence has started. Yet Yihi stays calm, knowing death would be too simple an escape for the man before him. He summons a vampire model, and as the creature creeps out of the shadows, it lunges at the lifeless doctor. Its twisted limbs pierce his throat, injecting venom that spreads quickly, devouring every sign of decay. But under Yihi's control, the transformation takes a different path, and the corpse begins to regenerate instead of rot. Red light floods the room as Dr. Fang's skin tightens. His body starts to revive, and his dull eyes flicker open again. What stands before Yihi now isn't a man, but a creation bound to his will, one that keeps memory and smarts, but is absolutely loyal. Yihi examines him proudly, knowing he's created what he calls a perfect bloodline, because the creature in front of him is immune to light, tough to destroy, and completely obedient. Dr. Fang's old life vanishes as Yihi commands him to recall when the city was first breached, and the control takes hold at once. A blue glow spreads in their eyes as their minds link. He sees a younger Dr. Fang trembling in dim light, his hands slick with blood, his eyes wild with hunger. Nearby, another doctor gnaws on raw flesh, claiming it as an offering from villagers, calling it fresh and sacred. The scene shifts to a shadowy hall where an old man sleeps before a Buddha statue, while Fang's assistant murmurs that deep sleep makes it easier to transport people into the lab. Yi feels unease creeping in as he realizes something unnatural is going on here. The vision shifts again, showing Dr. Fang kneeling before a clay idol, whispering odd words as he rolls up his sleeve, revealing a string of numbers carved into his arm. Driven by curiosity, he begins to decode them, eventually discovering the sequence is his secret access key. When he enters it into his computer, encrypted files flood the screen, but before he can grasp them, his mind starts to fracture, and he realizes his memories are being rewritten. In one last act of clarity, he carves the code onto his arm to warn the version of himself that will remain after the manipulation. The memories grow darker as the truth comes into sharper focus. The raw meat is actually human flesh, and all the experiments and disappearances linked to a cult called Divine Descent Nation. Back in the present, Yi finally comprehends the full extent of the corruption. The cult has infiltrated the laser bird facility, turning its scientists and workers into empty shells drained of will. Dr. Fang, now kneeling submissively before him, confirms this, explaining the organization wiped their minds and transformed them into obedient vessels. Yi's anger swells as he looks at the doctor's pale face and recognizes the three young martial artists among the victims of these twisted experiments. As his memories flow back, he sees how Dr. Fang's quest for progress spiraled into dark obsession. The man who once dreamed of unlocking human potential instead unleashed forces far beyond anyone's control. Through Fang's last memories, Yi discovers that it all started with an ancient relic harboring a parasite called Emotai, a living entity that invades the mind and feeds on human will. It spreads quietly, and as it grows, it drives people toward cannibalism and endless slumber, turning entire villages into offerings fueling a greater power. Fang had once thought his cruelty was unmatched, but compared to the cult, he was just a small player. The Divine Descent Nation had gone further, sacrificing a whole city to nourish their god. Finally, the pattern becomes clear. The relic, the experiments, and the upcoming festival are all pieces of the same plan, leading to Emotai's awakening. Yi's breath slows as the truth sinks in, and amid that chilling clarity, a faint memory surfaces about the grand celebration set for 2 days from now, reminding him the old man shared crucial info. Yi's eyes harden as he declares the memories fully extracted. Turning to the doctor, he explains this base belongs to the Laser Bird organization but wants to dig deeper into the Divine Descent Nation, the Demon Fetus, and the three Huada warriors. Studying the doctor, he realizes just how much intel he's gained, including secret experiments once run by Laser Bird. Though tempted to act now, he reminds himself Huada will handle things later. Still, the idea of the golden gene piques his interest since the doctor studied it and grasped its power. But he decides this can wait until he wraps up the Lingwei incident. Thinking about the school's mission and the seal, he feels torn. Huada has already allowed the investigation to close, but the reward means little to him now, so he plans to claim the prize from the Divine Descent Nation's victory for himself. After some thought, he orders Dr. Fang to hide out in Lingwei. He'll supply his blood to be mixed into the water system to maximize infection. The doctor laughs, calling him crazy but admiring his guts. He calmly explains the people of Lingwei have already hit the 4th stage of contamination and can't go back to normal. His plan is to control them first and, if possible, restore their former lives later. At least under his control, they won't hurt anyone else. When Yiho returns to the old house, he brings food from Lingwei. Lu Qinggu and Suho hesitate when they see it, and Yihe instantly realizes they've guessed where it came from. Suhao shivers as he describes finding signs of cannibalism among the locals. Yiho just smiles quietly, knowing they're getting closer to the truth. He tells them everything, and Lu Qingju stands up, furious. Shocked to learn an illegal experimental base operated for years right under Lingwei, Suhao pales and says even a top biotech company has fallen prey to the corruption here. Lu Qingju insists the threat is beyond level 3, and they should call Huada for backup, but Yihe refuses, knowing it would cost him his reputation. Nearly losing his patience, he assures them the mission is risky but doable, and letting fear take over will only slow them down. Yeha places his hands on their shoulders, telling them to hold steady until nightfall. He's already seen people eating raw flesh and worshipping clay statues, and believes only after dark will Lingwei's true nature show itself. At the Laserbird headquarters, the board holds an emergency meeting after hearing about the destruction at G Temple Base in Lingwei. Reports confirm the base's self-destruct sequence was triggered but cut off, meaning something went wrong. All communications are completely down. A mass director orders all heart bombs implanted in the researchers detonated to wipe out witnesses, while a special forces team is sent to Lingwei to investigate. Back in Lingwei, an explosion shakes the central water plant as the doctor's implanted bomb goes off. Thanks to vampire powers, his body survives despite rapid blood loss. Trembling, He reports to Yeeha that Laser Bird set off the bombs. Though he removed his device in time, special forces are already en route. Yeeha orders him to keep the plan going, and the doctor follows without missing a beat. As night falls over Lingwei, the streets lie quiet. A train pulls in, and several passengers step off. Leading the group is a tall guy with a shaved head named Catfish, who chuckles at how eerily quiet the city feels. Right behind him, Ares, a woman holding a baby, confirms that the powerful Zaya dragonfish had no ties to the Jinshan temple base. Along with them is Bluebird, a girl with short hair, and a quiet man named Gold Snake, plus Black Lion, a sharp-eyed guy wearing glasses. Black Lion orders the team to wipe out all the experimental records and gear. The five of them move through the empty streets, speaking quietly, ignoring their leader's commands. Black Lion reminds everyone that blending in is part of the job and quickly assigns their tasks. Snake and Bluebird will investigate inside the city, while he, Ares, and Catfish head toward the Shuang Sea base. Snake and Bluebird step into a nearby house to check things out. In the kitchen, a basin filled with rotting meat smells awful and is swarming with flies. The gruesome sight makes Snake's stomach churn as she suspects the residents might be eating human flesh. Pulling herself together, she steps into the living room and spots a clay statue in the corner, just like the one Yihei and his team saw earlier. A strange feeling creeps over her, as if something corrupt lurks within it. Meanwhile, Bluebird talks to his commanders over his communicator. He learns that the Buddhist temple base was wiped out by a lone martial artist who crushed everything inside. Tens of thousands of creatures lay dead, and fortress-grade armor was ripped apart by sheer force. Dr. Fang's body is missing. As he listens, the connection suddenly drops, making him wonder if their signal is being jammed. Moving to the window, he looks outside and freezes. The streets are filled with people slowly walking with their eyes closed, and he realizes the entire city has slipped into mass sleepwalking, now closing in on them. Gold Snake realizes he's been spotted and instinctively backs away. But before he can send a signal, a blade pierces his abdomen. The attacker is Bluebird, the one he trusted most, whose eyes now glow unnaturally as dark energy swirls around her. That strike shows her will has been taken over. And when Gold Snake traces the source, he spots a statue placed next to the deity's talisman, a relic identical to those found in the ancient Yuan ruins, where ritual items were said to enslave minds. Meanwhile, atop the bell tower overlooking Lingwei County, Yeeha studies the moon, noting how its size and brightness warp the natural order, and concludes the abnormality ties to the mass sleepwalking reports from across the city. He sends his team orders to head to the southeastern sector where the sleepwalkers cluster, then vanishes to investigate himself. Gold Snake wakes, tied to a tree. His vision clears slowly as he notices Bluebird bound beside him. Down below, a crowd has gathered. The people stare blankly upward, mouths open and bodies trembling. When he calls out, they don't respond. Their silence tells him they're completely unconscious, having lost all control. Suddenly, a bell tolls through the air. The sound spreads through the forest as the moon above grows larger and brighter until it bathes the entire area in light. Under that glow, the villagers start moving. Their limbs shake before they begin climbing on top of one another, stacking up. The moonlight pulls them upwards, and soon their bodies form a towering column rising to the sky. The wooden post tying up Gold Snake and Bluebird lifts with them, raising the pair higher as the tower grows. Meanwhile, at Buddha Temple, Captain Black Lion grows uneasy. No signals have come from either agent since their last update. The silence, combined with the recent attack on the Lingwei base, suggests the two events are connected, so he orders the team to set out immediately. But outside, the team freezes as they look up. The clouds are gone. The moon is bigger and brighter than ever, nearly touching the horizon. Ares points to a silver beam of light shooting down from the moon, striking the ground in Lingwei County. The beam doesn't fade or spread. It hangs steady, like a bridge between sky and earth. Black Lion studies the beam and realizes this is no ordinary event. The destruction of Lingwei base might be part of the same operation leading to this moment. He orders his team to head toward the light. They navigate narrow streets until Black Lion senses movement ahead. He charges ahead, swinging his blade. But just before it lands, a swirling black umbrella spins up to block the strike. The weapon smacks against it and bounces back hard, leaving a scratch on the wall. Black Lion steadies himself, realizing this umbrella isn't just any ordinary gear, it's a highly specialized tool. From the mist, a figure steps forward, holding the umbrella with smooth, deliberate grace. The air around her grows still as she closes the umbrella and stands facing them. Black Lion eyes her closely. Her look and demeanor tell him she's not from around here. The timing and place only confirm one thing: she's connected to the Lingwei base incident. Across the field, the experienced hunters see through the stalling tactics. They know the pair are buying time for backup. Uneasy, they prepare to wrap this up quickly, deciding to take them out in seconds. Su Hao lifts his sword and summons a towering pillar of ice. He stays alert, scanning for any openings. One enemy, a big guy with a cruel grin, charges Lu Qingju. He insults her beauty, his words dripping with spite. Lu Qingju senses his strength and readies herself for the hit, but Su Hao acts first. With a sweep of his hand, he creates an icy path that slams the attacker away. Then Lu Qingju lunges forward, fierce and fearless, striking back hard. The ice barrier between them starts to crack, slashed repeatedly by the enemy's blades. The wall finally shatters with a heavy crash. Su Hao can't believe how easily it broke. He tosses out smoke grenades from the Empire's arsenal, clouding the foe's vision. Through the haze, he pulls Lu Qingju back with him. He warns her these opponents are top-tier martial artists too strong for a frontal fight. She agrees without hesitation, but just as they try to escape, a fast figure blocks their way. Two short daggers flash at their throats. The team leader smirks, confident of victory, grabbing their collars. Suddenly, a shift in the air makes him turn. A blade almost 30 meters long slams toward him. He ducks instinctively, and Yehei steps forward. Cool and composed, he faces the assassin. The assassin strikes in a blur, splitting into 12 shadowy forms. Blades fly in from every angle, faster than the eye can track. For a moment, Yehei seems caught off guard. Then everything freezes, time itself halts. The blades hang suspended in midair, locked in place. Yehei studies the scene, impressed by the move but needing no guess which is the real assassin. He and his allies strike in unison, shattering the phantom clones. He pins down the true assassin, Black Lion, a top-ranked killer famous for surviving anything. His skin is tough enough to stop bullets, but against stop time, even he's powerless. Yehei channels energy into his hand, forming a blood-red arrow. The arrow pierces Black Lion just as time resumes. The killer's instincts scream too late. His long career ends instantly, his last thought questioning how Yehei moved faster than sight. When it's done, Yehei lifts the severed head and begins absorbing the assassin's blood. The body withers and dries up, its power merging with his own. His energy surges, pushing him into the 8th level of martial mastery. The battlefield falls silent. The remaining enemies, Catfish and Ares, stare in shock. Taking down someone 2 levels above by raw force is unbelievable. They sense something is deeply wrong and start preparing to retreat. Yehei looks down at the blood pooling on the ground, a twisted grin curling his lips. The blood stirs and releases a dark red aura. From it, a monstrous hand rises, followed by the demonic form of their fallen leader. Catfish and Ares freeze in terror. The aura feels both familiar and terrifying. Their captain's image stands before them, distorted beyond recognition. They barely manage to breathe. Just before panic takes hold, Ares steps up and commands them to move aside. She lifts a small child in her arms, and the baby's body rapidly swells until it transforms into a giant 3-meter-tall beast. The child was never human, but a bioweapon designed for battle. Ares orders it to attack, and the creature charges with a ferocious roar. Yehei watches calmly, hands casually in his pockets. Ares and Catfish scramble to flee, desperate to get away before Yehei strikes again. But Yehei already has a plan. He orders Su Hao and Lu Qingju to stay back with his phantom and take down the bioweapon. The three get ready instantly. Su Hao channels the Phoenix martial technique, combining the Ice Wall, Dragon Shadow, and Northern Cold Sword moves into one deadly strike. Cold energy fills the air, shaping into a dragon that dives straight at the monster. The chilling aura takes shape as a fierce dragon's head, roaring fiercely as it strikes at the towering bow weapon. It lets out a monstrous howl before launching itself forward, ready to sacrifice everything so its allies can get away. When scorching heat meets biting cold, the whole alley fills with a thick mist. Su Hao grits his teeth and leaps into the air. He swings down with full power, his blade slicing across the mutant's face. The creature tries to dodge but fails, a deep gash splitting half its head. Underneath the torn flesh, there's no blood or bone, only alloy plates and microchips. It's basically a machine dressed as a man. The giant rushes forward with impossible speed, pushing Su Hao back. He grips his sword tightly and barely dodges the next blow. The attack misses. In that instant, Black Lion appears from the shadows, moving like a ghost. He splits into 12 blood-red figures, each holding a spinning blade. Together, they form a deadly net that crashes down on the mutant's head. The creature's body shatters, torn to pieces. Even with its regeneration, it can't recover from such a savage strike. As blood and smoke swirl through the air, Lu Qingju rises high above. Her massive wings unfold, glowing with a bright purple light that floods the battlefield. She looks almost divine, like a goddess descending with judgment. From way up high, Lu Qingju gathers her strength. Dark feathers flare around her hands, turning to ashes that form a dense black sphere. The sphere grows larger until it's 5 meters across. Then it bursts, turning into a blazing purple sun. Her cry echoes through the night, a declaration that the enemy won't escape. The mutant's legs freeze solid, trapped in ice. Black Lion holds it from the front, locking it firmly in place. The explosion shakes the ground, and a pillar of purple fire erupts, swallowing the cold moonlight and burning everything in its path. The mutant's screams last just moments before fading into silence. Its body burns completely until not even ashes remain. The battle ends in a flash of light, and the night falls eerily quiet. Far away, underneath the city's grimy sewer tunnels, Catfish runs through filthy water, gasping for breath. His face pale, his steps desperate, muttering curses as he flees. Suddenly, a flash of blue light bursts ahead, striking down and freezing him solid. Terror fills his eyes as the light spreads through the darkness, revealing a figure glowing in its shine. An eerie smile creeps out of the shadows. Panic floods Catfish as sweat pours down him. He knows he's being hunted and bolts in terror, trying to lose himself in the maze of tunnels. At the same time, Ares runs through the narrow alleys above. A blinding blue beam crashes from the sky like divine lightning. Her body trembles as she realizes it hit right where Catfish had fled. In that moment, she understands the truth. Their captain is dead, and now Catfish has fallen too. She's the only one left. Standing alone in the ruined alley, Ares shakes uncontrollably. Her mind races, searching for a way out. She tells herself she can't die here. Desperation fuels her thoughts until a wild idea sparks. Her eyes land on a strange structure nearby, the human ladder of Lin Shuin, a weird tower stretching into the sky. Her heart sinks as she realizes it's the work of Tiangu Jianglin. Fear mixes with determination. She bites her nails until they bleed, vowing to survive no matter the cost, even if it means giving her soul away to darkness. She bolts toward the human ladder, her fear growing with every step. Bodies stacked on bodies form a grotesque staircase, reaching up to the heavens. When Ares finally stands before it, a cold shiver runs down her spine. Ye appears from the shadows, a massive blade resting on his shoulder. In his other hand, he holds Catfish's severed head, blood dripping onto the ground. His presence chills the air around her. Panic grips Ares, and she bolts for the ladder. Climbing frantically, she tells herself this is the only shot at survival. The climb seems endless, but her hands never quit. When she looks up, she sees a huge jade door slowly opening. Tears fill her eyes as she recognizes her dad. The column of people glows brightly, standing tall in the middle of the city, shining like a beacon in the dark night. The massive door opens slowly. When Biang finally steps onto the moon, a faint, twisted smile creeps onto Yi-Hee's lips. His body collapses beneath the moonlight, turning into black smoke that fades away. It was never really him, after all. Just a trick made by the moonlight to mess with her fears and push her upward. The real Ye watches quietly from afar, his calm eyes locked on the glowing pillar. After a moment, he speaks softly, like he saw this coming, pointing out that Tianyu Jianglin used Bang's fear to craft his image and force her climb. He pulls out his phone, his voice steady as he reports that the Laser Bird Assassin Squad lost 2 members, and the remaining 3 are barely hanging on. A sly smile spreads across his face, his eyes glowing blue with excitement and anticipation. He predicts that by tomorrow, Tianyu Jianglin's men will show up, and with Laserbird losing their base, yet another faction is about to crumble. The night fades, moonlight dims, and the bright human ladder vanishes as dawn breaks. The giant moon pulls back, and the last beam of light disappears. Folks from Lingwei County, whose bodies form the ladder, drop back to the ground. Some are dead, some alive, and others walk as if nothing happened. Their faces peaceful, eyes closed. But their life force has been drained, leaving them empty shells quietly making their way home. In the chilly morning breeze brushing the rooftops, Yehei, Su Ha, and Lu Qingju watch from a distance. Chinga's voice is filled with doubt as she questions the strange mission. Yeha smiles calmly, still watching the crowd below, and says he has a plan. He adds they aren't alone, mentioning a skilled ally who operates behind the scenes. Sua hesitates, his face tightening as he thinks it over. He guesses Yehei must come from great power. Either a hidden heir of an important figure or a young master sent to train among mortals. If that's right, the hidden ally could be a secret guardian. Before he can dwell more, Yehei's aura bursts out, filling the air with dark energy as his voice echoes, calling them to action. Dark mist spreads over the ground, twisting into illusions, crawling through alleys and over rooftops like spirits breaking free. In the middle of it all, Ye commands them to destroy every clay statue in the city. Sua moves at once, blending into the ghostly swarm. Lu Qingju lingers, unsure, eyes fixed on Yiha. Spotting her hesitation, he calls her name, and she flinches slightly before offering a small, trusting smile. She tells him to lean on the team more instead of shouldering it all alone. Yeehaw turns and heads toward the secret base under Jinshan Temple. Inside, the mad scientist greets him with deep respect. Yeehaw cuts him off coldly, ordering him to get ready for battle. He steps into a dark pit full of heaps of failed biochemical bodies. The doctor explains all the defeated artificial beings have been gathered here. Our guy knows this, happy with the count, and shouts powerfully. His body erupts in thick black smoke as a giant skull forms behind him, glowing with energy. He holds back the lightning inside to avoid damaging the nearby bodies. From the smoke, a massive figure starts to form, ripping open its chest to reveal a huge, beating heart. Blood gushes out, filling the pit and soaking the dead bodies. Their eyes flicker with life as their flesh begins to heal. Yahya watches as they turn into a resurrected army. Their eyes glow red, full of rage and power. He orders the doctor to use the vampire virus to wake them up and boost their strength. Each one will be able to transform into a giant immortal soldier bound to his command. The doctor works fast, controlling a swarm of tiny mechanical mosquitoes, carrying vampire blood. They scatter through Lingwei County, entering every home. Ye smirks, saying the warmth they bring is his own. Then he orders the doctor to restore the great Buddha mechanical armor, even if only partly, to make it usable again. The doctor laughs and agrees without hesitation. Satisfied, Yi raises his hand with a cold smile and says everything on their side is going as planned. Now he wants to see how Tnu Jianglin will respond. Meanwhile, another force moves toward Lingwei County. A convoy speeds down the highway, marked with the emblem of Tangu Jianglin, the ancient sect that rose up when the secret realms first opened. Their leader, a mysterious pope, once gained immense power from those ruins. He wielded the divine embryo, a dark relic that devours body and soul, to build his cult into a growing empire. Their belief is that the divine embryo will become a vessel for the divine and lead humanity to a false salvation. The bishop's cold voice cuts through the air as he declares, "This land will soon belong to our faith." As the convoy rolls past the fertile fields, his eyes burn with greed and fierce determination. These cultists might not have the sharpest martial skills, but their dark rituals are second to none. They firmly believe that through sacrifice and spilled blood, a divine embryo will awaken, causing the divine realm to merge with the mortal world. The dreaded moment is creeping closer. Inside, the bishop solemnly speaks of the land ahead, where their revered patriarch unleashed a divine catastrophe 4 years ago. A deputy bishop clad in red robes, overwhelmed by emotion, responds, saying the patriarch gave his all to the divine church before being assassinated by the foolish Long Jew. He never lived to see the chaos he set in motion. Another deputy bows his head in sorrow, lamenting that such a faithful and pure man couldn't even keep a single bone intact, calling it a cruel injustice. The bishop at the forefront grits his teeth, eyes blazing with fury. He swears the patriarch's sacrifice won't be in vain and that the world mustn't stay in the hands of fools dragging it to ruin. His anger boils over until he bursts out, shouting, filling the cabin with his roar. The cultists around him tremble, raising their voices in unison, proclaiming the gods are descending and salvation is just ahead. Their frenzy swells as they chant, eyes wide and hollow, repeating that heaven will touch the earth and they must fight for their god. By nightfall, the moon hangs high, glowing with an eerie light. 2 dark holes glare like demonic eyes, smoke curling around them, while the cracks underneath shape a twisted smile. As the convoy reaches the edge of the human ladder in Lingwei County, the bishop steps out, excitement bubbling up. Muttering to himself about carrying on the divine legacy, he pulls back his hood with unmistakable pride. Grinning wide, he recalls only 2 divine beings have ever been born successfully, each time causing worldwide chaos, storms, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions that wiped out millions. He remembers the second descent on the Australian continent, where everything was swallowed by a sea of mist, turning into the forbidden dark forest sea forever. He lifts his frail hand and slices his palm, letting blood drip slowly onto a massive demon stone. The blood flares violently as waves of dark energy ripple outward, forming a huge circle around him. The bishop quietly declares their cult will welcome the third god soon. His followers begin chanting, and the ground transforms into a fiery ritual zone. When preparations finish, he climbs the human ladder, eyes locked on the glowing moon, whispering blood spells as he steps over unmoving bodies below. Finally, he reaches a colossal closed gate and bows deeply. His blood-covered hand touches a corpse at his feet, and red tendrils of energy slither across the ground. He smiles and offers his blood to the dark power standing before him. The gate swings open, unleashing a blinding white light, and a deep voice commands him to step forward. Without hesitation, he complies, walking through the light slowly until he arrives at a silver altar holding a platinum coffin etched with sacred symbols. His gaze locks on it, mumbling in awe. Inside rests the god of plague, sealed away years ago after draining the life from Lingwei County's people. Now, The time for awakening has come. The believers chant faster and louder, blood dripping from their hands, filling the air with a heavy, metallic scent. The bishop raises his voice, proclaiming the moment to welcome their deity is here. The atmosphere vibrates as potent energy descends. The cult leader himself appears, descending the human steps slowly, carrying the platinum coffin like a sacred burden. The followers shout with devotion as he places the coffin at the ritual circle's heart. Standing tall, he raises his arms toward the glowing moon, calling down its power. When the clock in Lingwei County strikes midnight, the toll of 3 bells rings across the land. The name Yuyan Boros crashes through the air, and the whole county shakes. Souls rise from the bodies of every resident, glowing pale, white as they drift upward like a swarm of flickering lights. Their lifeless bodies fall, drained of all vitality. The souls cluster into dense clouds, forming a giant current rushing toward the divine light. Suddenly, a deafening roar shakes the sky, flooding every mind with raw power. Half the glowing souls shift blue, as if their purity has been stained. They spin around and surge straight toward the bishop. Panic flashes across his face as he starts to tremble. Realizing the ritual has been tainted, he mutters that the souls have been corrupted by the strange roar and that someone is meddling. Still, the ritual can't be stopped, and the corrupted spirits flood into the platinum coffin like an unstoppable tide. The bishop screams in frustration as the unclean energy defiles the god they've tried to awaken. At that moment, a shadowy figure appears by his side. It's Yeya, standing calmly with a sharp, cold smile. He says he's been waiting for this moment all along. The bishop turns, stunned, his mind blank, struggling to process what's happening. Yeya's eyes flash like lightning as a powerful aura fills the space around him. His weapon ignites, glowing red with faint symbols pulsing along its edge. A bright slash cuts the air, slicing through the bishop's throat in a flash. Yeya charges forward, his blade slicing the air with 3 swift strikes that mix blood and light. The force of his attack seems to warp reality itself. Time feels like it splits in two as the bishop falls before he can even say his last word. The dark energy around Yeha blazes so fiercely the shadows recoil. He tilts his head, a faint grin creeping up as he calmly declares that the figure before them is nothing but a demon. The pastor gasps for air, blood spilling from his mouth, trembling between life and death. He tries to speak his final words, but can barely get them out. Yeha frowns, annoyed that the man isn't dead yet, swings his blade again, and this strike lands cleanly. Standing over the body, he shakes his head, muttering that his opponent was way too weak. Then, out of the shadows, a calm voice calls out. Yeha turns sharply, realizing he took down the wrong man. The real bishop steps forward, composed and collected. He pulls back his hood, revealing a bald head, shining under the moonlight. He introduces himself as Linky, the supreme leader of the Shia Kingdom's divine church. He casually mentions that the man Yeha just killed was only his deputy. He chuckles lightly, explaining that in his line of work, using stand-ins is just smart strategy. Yeha tightens his grip on his blade, furious. Without a word, he launches himself forward, striking fast and hard. Linchi raises a hand, blocking the blow with eerie calm. Black energy bursts from his palm, forming dark chains that wrap around Yeha like steel cables, tightening until it feels like every bone in his body is snapping. Gritting his teeth, Yeha breaks free, summoning his power. A massive spirit shaped like a rose blooms behind him, radiating fierce energy that tears through the darkness. For once, Linchi looks surprised, staring at the spirit behind Yeha. He asks if Yeha is also a practitioner of divine arts, but blue lightning already crackles from Yeha's hands, lighting up the air. He snarls that he just wants to finish this fight and get out of this cursed place. Thunder rumbles around him, his body coiling with raw power. He punches forward, lightning forming into a dragon that crashes straight into Linky. The impact shakes the ground, sending Linchi flying through debris and smoke. When the dust settles, Linchi is still standing. His body is battered, but dark energy swirls around him, healing his broken arm. He lifts his head, calm and arrogant, declaring himself blessed by the gods. Yeha narrows his eyes, muttering that this fight is going to be a real pain. Linchi begins chanting in a low voice. With every word, the cultists regroup, surrounding Yeha. Their eyes wild, their expressions vacant. Without hesitation, they raise their blades and stab themselves, blood spraying all over the ground. The air thickens with the metallic scent of iron. Yeha watches, disgusted, calling it a pathetic show. But before he can move, he feels something cold crawling through the air. A cracking sound echoes like splintering wood. Then a bloody hand bursts through the chest of one cultist. The skin tears apart as a twisted creature crawls free. Not human, not demon, something far worse. One by one, the dead bodies burst open, unleashing more of these creatures. Their horns curve like hooks and their teeth are sharp as blades. They crawl forward, leaving bloody trails as the ritual reaches completion. Yaha doesn't flinch. He smirks and mutters coldly that these so-called gods are nothing but monsters pretending to be divine. Yaha raises a hand to cover half his face. Watching calmly, he scoffs at the cultists for casually offering their bodies to summon demons, chuckling briefly. The summoned beasts reveal their twisted, bloodthirsty true forms, locking their sights on him. Blue lightning crackles across the sky, weaving through the air as Yihi declares he's unleashing his own forces. The tiny lizards grow into massive giants over 33 feet tall, roaring as they charge toward him. The demons rush forward, but Yi's giants crush them immediately, turning their bodies into pulp before they can land a blow. More giants flood the battlefield, their steps shaking the ground beneath them. The deputy bishop, dressed in red, trembles as he watches. The church leader is dead, and now countless giants appear. He tries to use spiritual vision to find the leader, but all he sees is Yihi. He's standing by the coffin, aiming for Tai. Despite yelling orders, nothing seems to reach him. Meanwhile, Luingju and Su-ho descend from the sky in their awakened states, confronting the deputy bishop. The pastor realizes they had planned everything from killing the cult leader to unleashing the giant army, and now intercepting him, and knows the cult's mission is doomed. As cold air seeps from the coffin, he notes the being inside holds a grudge tied to a lost position. The system reports that Yihi has gained 5 special divine energy points as part of the ritual's accumulated faith, partially absorbed by a motai to create a vessel for Noyet Yam. Yiho laughs at the news, steps closer, and with a sneer, opens the coffin, only to find it empty except for a lavish interior. Puzzled and irritated, he calls out, wondering why the deity is hiding. He summons his massive blade, planting it firmly on the ground, and a hush falls over the battlefield. The uproar of giants, demons, and combat fades away, as if the world now revolves solely around him. Then a voice calls out, and he turns to see a huge moon with a sinister grin, and Archbishop Lynchie approaching, revealing the moon and surrounding space as an illusion. Yiho narrows his eyes, recognizing him, while Lynchie taunts, asking if he remembers when he fell into the dream. Elsewhere, Lu Qinggu and Su-ho keep battling the giant demon the deputy bishop summoned. The deputy bishop, seeing Yihi is alone, grows uneasy. He draws a jade-green blade and channels a deadly spell, preparing to crush Yihi with a rain of bloodthorns. Taking advantage of Lu Qinggu and Su-ho's focus on the demon, he charges forward, yelling that the guilty will face divine justice. Su-ho notices the bishop's attack toward Yihi and reacts immediately, gathering all his strength. He spins a massive tornado of ice and wind, forming it into a storm sword powerful enough to flatten mountains. He uses nearly all his energy to restrain the giant, urging his teammates to act without hesitation. Lu Qinggu spreads her wings, soaring above the ice barrier and commanding firmly. The demon swings its flaming battle axe, smashing Su-ho's ice wall instantly, shaking the battlefield. Su-ho retaliates by launching sharp ice spikes into the demon's steel-like skin, tearing it apart. Dark energy swirls as he raises his hand, declaring he channels the power of the ancient Huado clan. Su-ho's body surges with energy from the ancient clan he once sealed, healing his wounds. His dragon horns lengthen. Frost coats his renewed flesh, and his dragon eyes glow fiercely. He combines the flame, blood secret technique with his bloodline, risking faster life consumption for peak power. His hands rise, gathering martial energy into a gigantic, icy greatsword tens of meters long, shaking the space around him. He strikes with full might, aiming to destroy the demon outright. The beast braces to unleash a massive flame, but Su-ho's attack overwhelms it. Ice and fire clash, spreading across the battlefield and rattling the surroundings. Despite the full force of Su-ho's storm sword, the monster absorbs the energy with its own flames. The ice melts and shatters, leaving him exposed and spent. Just as he starts to falter, a sharp projectile pierces the demon from behind, delivering critical damage and finishing it off. Su-ho collapses, drained, barely able to catch his breath. He glances at his unexpected ally, Dr. Dine, who fired the shot, realizing he had seriously underestimated Hyde's extraordinary potential. Dr. Dine comments on Su-ho's progress toward martial disciple level, while Lu Qinggu shows equal talent, both carrying the promise of the master's chosen team. A swarm of drones zooms towards Su-ho as the deputy bishop makes a run for it. The bishop spots the young man's power and plays it cool, masking his suspicion as Su-ho and Lu Qingju confidently press on. Lu Qingju unfurls her wings, soaring over the battlefield, while Su-ho carries the demon's severed head, his every step commanding attention. The moon deity steps in, dropping 6 huge coffins filled with undead martial artists. The coffins slam to the ground and burst open, revealing identical undead warriors radiating martial-level energy. Some are recognizable faces from the university's second team, now controlled corpses. The vice bishop panics, realizing these undead threaten his divine fetus. As the undead advance, Dr. DNA orders his Titan squad to intercept, buying Lu Qingju some time. The Titans are powerful but fragile compared to these martial-level zombies who effortlessly rip through them. Lu Qingju seizes the chance to fly toward Yiha. Pushing against the wind, she takes hits but refuses to fall, driven only by the need to reach him. The vice bishop scrambles, sending forces to stop her, but she dodges attacks and finally reaches Yiha. She tumbles into his arms, finding a moment of refuge. Her body trembles with exhaustion, but leaning on him steadies her spirit. A brief calm amid the chaos. After taking down the bloodthorns, Lu Qingju holds Yiha tight, biting back the pain in her wounded arm. She burns a little inner energy to fight the poison and keeps moving. From above, she sees the giant mutants Ye created, lying bloodied and crushed. Among them, 6 bodies stir, their eyes snapping open with a hunter's glare, sending chills her way. Knowing the danger, she battles the overwhelming presence invading her mind, refusing to give in, spreading her wings to unleash a shockwave of resistance. The force hits her body and mind hard, assaulting her spirit with fierce pain. Still, she clings to Yiha, determined to protect him. Her strength fades as darkness creeps in, holding Yiha as they fall. Below, 6 monstrous figures await, with long, twisted necks and spiked heads ready to impale them. Just before impact, Yiha wakes up, freezing time and stopping the spikes. Kinur regains consciousness, leaning on Yiha's shoulder. He comforts her, and she relaxes, giving in fully to his embrace. Worn out, but safe, the deputy bishop, furious, tries to act, commanding 7 martial masters to attack. Yiho quietly channels his power, teleporting Qinggu to safety while taking on the rest alone. In Titan form, he crushes the martial-level undead with unstoppable force, leaving a path of devastation. The vice bishop suffers hallucinations of death over and over, sinking into despair as Yiho's presence dominates the field. His mind and body crack under the pressure, leaving him weak and terrified. Yiho keeps fighting, towering as a titan, smashing every martial-level enemy with crushing blows. Below, the battlefield becomes a wasteland of blood and flesh, his power owning the ground. Suddenly, the moonlight flares dramatically, revealing a new figure descending. This supreme leader, bathed in silver moonlight, stands still, radiating a terrifying divine aura. His long white hair, sharp, cold features, and piercing gaze lock onto Yiho. His presence is unwavering, filled with authority and dominance. Though no chi stirs, his aura screams ultimate power, hinting he's the mastermind behind the mutations and chaos in Lingwei County. Yiho senses the threat, but meets it head-on, ready to face the figure under the warped moon. Knowing this fight could decide everything, a mysterious deity rises from the moon. It seems she is the moon deity. Yiho drifts through a void where the city is gone, replaced by a silver glow like standing on the moon itself. The air shifts, and though he feels the cold, he knows this is a mental space, free of physical laws. Unlike illusions, harm here is real, and he's without his invincible golden body. The silver moon deity reaches the final step, floating like a god. He recognizes Yiho's rare talent and reveals part of his divine essence has been stolen, turning Ye-He into a potential vessel. The silver moon deity promises to raise Ye-He from mortal to divine status, offering a joint reign. Yiho rejects the offer, showing disdain and stating gods prey on the weak and fall back on threats once stripped of real power. Calmly, the silver moon deity explains that even a small connection to a mortal can destroy him. He unleashes a blast of black and silver energy, trapping Yihi's body and soul in shimmering silver light. Yiho senses the immense gap between God and man as his giant form shatters, leaving only bones floating in the void. Despite the attack, Yi's consciousness endures, shielded by a talisman controlling his spirit. He foresaw the gods' move, setting a trap fueled by the resurrection power of the vampire queen. The silver moon deity realizes he can't touch Yi's soul, infuriated as the mental realm fractures. A massive blade slashes down from above, slicing through the void as the realm collapses. Through the breach steps the chief of the Longai division, National Grandmaster Azure Dragon, wrapped in white bandages, his blue hair fluttering, wielding a luminous greatsword. Yiho watches quietly, pleased that his plan worked and that the divine power is now within reach. The silver moon deity stares in disbelief, wondering if a human can be this strong. Grandmaster inspects Yiha, noting the chaotic energy and impure form, comparing him to the very first demon hybrid. The silver moon deity attacks, grabbing Yiha, but the strike fails and Yiha is hurled away. Only the silver moon deity and Grandmaster remain, locked in confrontation. Grandmaster summons divine consciousness, channeling intense power. As he descends, the silver moon deity prepares, widening the moonlight, flooding Lingwei County. The melding energies fracture space, taking shape as a dragon in the sky. Grandmaster charges into the Moonlight Pillar, set to battle the godlike force and restore balance. Elsewhere, sky and earth upheave as light and thunder merge. Yiho is blasted through mountains by the moon deity, landing far from Lingwei County, enclosed in a protective sphere. The forest is wrecked, trees crushed by the impact, and Yi emerges pale but alive. He surveys the area to find no signs of the county, realizing the fight likely raised the region. As Yi reflects, the system panel pops up showing a moon seal curse connected to the Master of Moon and Nightmares. He grasps the danger but also sees a chance. He studies the system interface, recognizing divine traits and their effects, especially those tied to the moon and dreams. He starts distributing points, boosting his skills and templates, including vampire bloodline, moon demon lineage, and powers that get stronger under moonlight. Each upgrade amps up his fight potential, transforming him into a war god under the full moon. Staying mostly inactive during the day, Yeha tests his strength, striking with explosive power that gouges the earth and sends wildlife scattering. He notes his enhanced muscles, reflexes, and nervous system speed, acknowledging the full impact of his lunar curse. He recognizes he's a key player in current events and expects the Dragonclaw's interest. He plans to reach out to Hua University for backup. Knowing allies and resources matter, he activates his bat wings and takes off. At Hua University, all seems calm. Yiho meets Principal Shi Jinwen, who greets him warmly and praises the squad's success in the Lingwei County mission. The principal promises the mission will be publicly labeled as Level 4 to avoid panic, while internally the squad gets Level 5 rewards. Hyo suspects the principal might be aware of his behind-the-scenes maneuvers. Later, Yiho reviews photos of the Lingwei County disaster from Dr. Madman, confirming a massive blast devastated the area, leaving few survivors. He recalls the moon deity's words about the lunar attack and feels the danger from high-level martial arts threats. Yiho thinks about staying cautious, remembering the Grandmaster's ability to help seal the Moonmark curse. While he waits, the Grandmaster arrives badly injured, his body bandaged and radiating a heavy aura, showing the toll the fight took and signaling that danger still looms in the martial world. In the reception room, Azure admits his wounds, including frost damage from battling the moon demon. Even with his injuries, he pulled off the win. As he talks, our guy chuckles softly, finding it kind of cute that the usually stoic Azure Dragon is explaining himself. Then, Azure Dragon drops his cloak and starts helping our guy seal the gaze. Since Principal Egsai already filled him in on our hero's condition, he decides to spill some top-secret info. He reveals that the monsters used to be as intelligent as humans. Casually, he mentions he was the only survivor of an A-class ruin excavation, but he didn't escape unscathed. He got cursed. The curse twisted his body and slowly shattered his sanity, turning him into a beast. With no one to help, he chose to enter an S-class realm, intending to die alone. What he didn't expect was a massive sea storm that tossed him onto an uncharted island no human had ever set foot on. He pauses his jaw-dropping story there. Since the rest is too dangerous to share, as he unwraps his bandages, strange scars and glowing runes cover his body. He admits some unknown force on that island stopped his transformation into a beast. When our protagonist sees the runes, a hellish vision strikes him. His body trembles and blood trickles from his eyes. But Azure Dragon finds it odd because even martial artists would suffer serious brain damage just by glimpsing those runes. Yet, our hero only bled a little. He hopes Yeha can fix the situation since the principal has never been wrong in his assessments. He then imprints 2 runes into his mind so he can get a good night's sleep. The system warns one might encounter the Master of the Moon and Nightmares under moonlight or in dreams. After he finishes imprinting, Yi thanks him and asks if his teacher is someone named Gon Kei. He clarifies he has no issue with her. He only brought her up because she was once set to become a legendary martial artist before a brain injury cut her journey short. Then Azure wonders if they could spar, and our guy is not one to hold back. He agrees but wants to do it under the moonlight. Next thing, they're standing in an arena. Azure Dragon tells him to strike first, saying he'll defend with only one hand and just his physical strength. His challenge, to move him even half a step. If our guy succeeds, he earns 1 free request for his help, and the second prize is direct admission into Longquay Division's first department. The fight kicks off, and our hero unleashes his blazing aura. Azure Dragon is a bit surprised it reminds him of the moon's demon. He's skeptical, but in that moment, our guy lands his first hit. Azure Dragon is shocked by the dense killing intent. Ganka watches from afar, clueless how our hero mastered such killing intent in just 3 days outside. Meanwhile, in a hotel somewhere else, Sword Manor sits with a girl who wonders why he's so distracted, even when they're in bed. He admits he sensed a heavy killing aura. He's sure the whole university campus felt it too, though they just brush it off as a show. The attack devastates everything around Azure Dragon. Our hero notices that Azure's punch is much simpler compared to his Azure 3 blades. He realizes Azure purposely avoided hitting his weak spots. Instead, the dragon chose to face him head-on. Power against power, like he's openly challenging him. That thought makes Ye's heart race. It feels raw, almost confrontational. Lost in thought, Azure Dragon gets ready to throw another punch, the military fist. The blow is fast and brutal, sending our guy flying through the air. Azure realizes he's in trouble if Yi dies and rushes to catch him before he hits the ground. When he catches him, our guy wakes up, blushing because he won. Since Azure moved more than a step, he tricked him. Azure can't help admire his quick thinking and asks what he wants to, but the promise remains pending. Azure admires his killing intent but urges him to train his body more to use it well. Nervously, our hero admits he hasn't even tapped into the Demon Emperor template yet. Azure sticks to his point. The hero needs a physically strong teacher as a guide. Yiho agrees to find a teacher, but Azure secretly hopes to take on that role himself. He's torn between asking Yiha to become his disciple or waiting for the hero to come to him. Then he hands over a badge containing a top-level body cultivation technique. This martial art is considered a national treasure in a Western country. He receives it with the goal of mastering Ye. With determination and focused training, he quickly masters it. Azure Dragon knows this technique is tough to develop because the martial spirit space from the West refuses to acknowledge Easterners. That's why he must wait until he reaches Grandmaster level, then forcibly acquire the martial spirit space to inherit it. Since the technique is so difficult, Yi will come to him personally to make him his disciple. Later, back at Yi's dorm, our guy takes a shower, thinking about how little time he's actually spent in his room. While he's studying martial art moves, someone rings the doorbell. Opening it, he finds Yuang waiting outside. Yiha lets him in, hoping he's not going to recruit him for another club. Suddenly, Yuang drops to his knees, pleading with the protagonist to become president of the Dragon Blood Club. Our guy wonders since when did Yuang turn into such a desperate dude. Still, he can't shake the thought. How did he even know Yiha was back at the dorm? Yuang admits someone saw him return, which ticked off our hero enough to drag Yuang out for practice. A bit later, Wang is sporting a swollen face. The hero asks what's going on with the club, and Yuang admits it's failing badly and that without some big contribution, the university plans to cut off their funding. The Dragon Blood Club started strong, landing sponsors and drawing in tons of students. But it all went downhill once it got crushed by the student union, made up mostly of locals from Hua City. This was all due to the leadership of Shangjian Zhuang. Investors pulled out, their commercial value tanked, and the company's welfare programs shut down. Seeing the club falter, members began jumping ship, making it tougher to recruit new people. Now, the Dragon Blood Club is on the brink. Yiho realizes that losing Shangjian Zhuang was the turning point in their collapse. To take down Shangjian Zhuang, they can't count on the seniors. They need someone from their own grade level, and the only person who fits that bill is Yihi. Our guy agrees, though he knows Yuang's real goal is to have him protect the club's assets. So, he pushes Yuang to get straight to the point. Yuang then lays out the Daxia recovery plan, a national campaign aimed at rallying martial artists nationwide to retake the 12 cities and surrounding areas completely overrun by monsters. He adds that other universities will send teams under their school's banner. With Yihi leading, the Dragon Blood Club will follow official orders. But Yiha's first priority is to remove the surveillance cameras, and Yuang complies without hesitation. After Yuang leaves, Yiha recognizes how huge a help he's been and notices Yuang's sharp business skills. With him on board, the club can definitely level up, raising standards for future awards. He then decides to master both martial art templates. Meanwhile, Shinshin calls Yan by name, wondering why Yuang is taking so long. Yan feels both offended and a little worried because Shinshin is pretty confrontational. Yan still informs them that the vice president and actual president will arrive soon. Hearing this, Shinshin worries that Yihi might be that president. He urges Yan to drop it, saying Yuang stands no chance against Jan Wang. Stepping back is their smartest move right now. The girl nearby agrees with Shinshin, too. Yan wonders what they plan to do next. Quickly, Shinshin brings up the Zhou family, saying their eldest son, Zhou Kai, promised to take care of them. So, he thinks this path is better than waiting for Jan to dissolve the club. Others start agreeing with him. Sure enough, Yihi doesn't show up. As it turns out, the people agreeing with him are actors paid off heavily in advance. Then, a curly-haired guy walks in. It's Kai, who wonders why it's taking Shinshin so long to handle Yan. When Yan sees Kai, he yells at him, asking how the heck he even got in. Kai casually replies that they fought their way in, promising to make up for the trouble he caused. Hearing this, Yan aims a powerful punch at Kai, but is stopped by a woman. He soon realizes she's no ordinary lady. Then Kai, the curly-haired guy, orders the club to beat Yan for his loyalty. According to him, he's worthless if he can't follow orders. Just as the others move in to attack, Yihi suddenly shows up. He rushes in after hearing the noise from downstairs. With a quick move, he grabs Kai by his curly hair and yanks him back. Then, using sheer strength, he tosses Kai and the woman right out of the window. After kicking them both out, he turns to the people behind him. One stammers, begging for another shot, admitting he got blinded by greed. He knows that if he's kicked out of Dragon Blood 2, there's nowhere left for him in the Hua City group. Yu steps forward and tells them they won't be expelled, but their actions will be closely monitored. They're also suspended from all Dragon Blood Club activities for a week. Our hero glares at the officers, and they accept their punishment quietly. Later, the top officials sit down to discuss the club's investments and finances. Wu Yangzi suggests that Daxia's recovery could put them in the spotlight, but our guy suggests a more straightforward option, taking out the threat from the Dragon Blood Club's Zhang Sang. To his dismay, Wang tells him that Zhang Zhang has gone into seclusion to break through to the Martial Master realm. That news makes him frown, but he quickly thinks up another plan. If he challenges the university's top experts, he can stir up more hype, and that means more investment. He then asks about the first Longquay division. Yen explains it's the strongest martial organization in Daxia. Members of the other Longquay divisions are called Long Agents, while the first division's members are known as Aces. His determination clearly shows how badly he wants in. Yen admits the first division is only for the best. Each year, fewer than 3 Imperial graduates get accepted, making it the ultimate dream for every martial artist. This sparks an idea for our guy. He orders the Dragon Blood Club's media team to start spreading the word. He stands and announces, as the club president and current ace of the Longquay First Division, that he challenges all martial artists below Grand Martial Master rank at Hua University. Turning to the officers, he wonders if the hype is big enough. Yen can't believe it, considering our guy hasn't even graduated yet. Yi explains he was recruited directly and didn't have to take any tests. Some users think he's joking, but our hero sets the record straight, saying he got the position last night and the documents will arrive in 2 days. Hugh thinks quietly that average martial masters are easy to crush, but the skilled ones might put up a fight. If our guy wants to take on a Grand Martial Master, he'd have to use his time stop ability, which depends on the element of surprise, and showing it off just to get investment isn't a smart move. Yu quickly contacts the media team, and before long the news goes viral. Nobody really knows him, so rumors start flying. Many call him arrogant for being a freshman who dares to challenge others. When it's revealed he joined the first division without an entrance exam, people start wondering if the officials were simply charmed by his smile. After all, 99% of applicants fail. Most students believe he used some shady tactics to become an ace. Meanwhile, the media campaign rages on, splitting opinions into camps. Some think he's just showing off, while others believe he really has the talent to be appointed without a test. His live broadcast draws massive attention, sending the club's popularity and investment soaring. In a hospital room, the battered Kai watches the news, thinking this challenge might be a death trap. Still, he's excited there's a chance his rival might get taken out. Finally, challenge day arrives. Our hero makes a grand entrance by helicopter, leaving the crowd amazed. The crowd explodes with excitement as Yi stands center ring, calmly taking in both cheers and criticism. Casually, our guy waits for his first opponent. On the side, Long Tao realizes this freshman knows exactly how to hype himself up. The man next to Long Tao wonders aloud if our hero will step up. Long Tao folds his arms, ready to ride this wave of attention. Sprinting toward the MC, Long Tao thinks to himself, as an internet celebrity, there's no way he's missing the chance to grab all this sky-high traffic. Also, he's convinced the first challenger never loses, so, if he takes the win, he'll blow up overnight. Even if he loses and someone else beats Yihi, he's planning to jump in later and claim he's the one who drained our guy. With those thoughts, Long Tao charges ahead. Smoke swirls around him as he yells out that he's a second Dan Martial Master. The arena trembles when the two finally face off, but the fight barely lasts 10 seconds. The loudmouth gets knocked out cold with a single kick to the face as he lunges at our hero. Then, from behind, Lao Ying shoots up into the air and dives toward our boy, weapon ready to strike. Everyone immediately recognizes her. She's just a 5th Dan Martial Master but has beaten 3 7th Dan Martial Masters all on her own. Her showing up here is strange, since she's one of the top figures in the entire second year. So, everyone's wondering if she can even stand up to Yihi. Regardless, she's definitely more skilled and powerful than that wannabe influencer Long Tao. As Yao Ling's spear swoops down, our boy channels his energy into his palm. Before striking her, Yihi tells her that her blade's purity is laughably low. With that, the energy he summons literally slices the spear in half. Just like that, all the other challengers rush Yihi at once, but he casually declares he's pretty busy and needs to wrap things up fast. Sensing his cockiness, they charge forward, but the protagonist handles them with sharp skill and perfect precision. Some get seriously hurt, others get blasted back the moment they close in. Some have their weapons shattered into pieces. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Jokai shakes nervously watching all this. He's unsure whom to send for revenge because at this rate, everyone's ending up as a patient. Maybe his older brother, Joe Yanting, could handle this smoothly, but he's a stubborn mule who only listens to logic. So, he probably wouldn't lift a finger to defend his little brother. But right then, Jokai smirks as a plan forms in his mind. Back at the battlefield, the guys laying wounded on the ground feel nothing but shame, knowing this will become the school's biggest embarrassing moment. And every time someone mentions Yi-Hee, they'll be reminded of this cringeworthy episode. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoes through the arena, and the crowd erupts because Yanting has arrived. A ninth Dan martial master who'd been in seclusion shows up. This is no ordinary fighter. Having refined his realm to perfection, he can even take on and beat regular grand martial masters. Everyone's hyped because Joe Yanting carries the powerful Sunblaze bloodline. He's so strong he used to struggle controlling it, sometimes bursting into flames. His family even gave him a special suit and training to keep it in check. Stepping forward, he respectfully admits his brother caused trouble at Yi-Hee's association, so his family plans to make up for all the damages. The protagonist easily picks up that Yanting isn't here for revenge and doesn't seem aggressive at all. Yanting confesses he's not here for payback for his brother, but to protect the Joe family's reputation. He knows his brother screwed up, but Yi-Hee insulting their family crossed the line. Hearing this, Yi scoffs, knowing jerks always twist the truth and spread slander. Still, Yanting demands that Yi kneel and apologize. The main character fires back, challenging Yanting to make him apologize if he's got the guts. Then, their fists collide, unleashing explosive energy that lights up the whole arena. Their strength matches perfectly, making everyone shiver. Yanting howls in fury, throwing his full weight into a forward attack. Meanwhile, our boy stays calm and counters. Yi notices Yanting's nano-battle suit starting to retract and the temperature suddenly rising. The crowd recognizes this as the Sunblaze Blood's power and Yi might be in serious trouble. All eyes lock onto the match between Yi and Yanting. They're evenly matched, turning the atmosphere electric as they fight on a whole different level than Long Tao and Yaoling. The arena floor cracks open as two streams of energy clash, one nuclear and the other fire, collide head-on. Watching this, everyone instantly realizes why Yanting is no joke, since he's the only one holding his ground against Yi. Right then, our guy surprises everyone by shifting into his monster template form, catching Yanting off guard. Seizing the moment, Yiho throws a powerful punch that sends Yanting flying. Even the kids watching can't help but cheer for their favorite fighters. Gasping and hurt, Yanting wonders how Long Kui could recruit someone like this, finding our main character's fighting style almost savage. For a brief second, he freezes, doubting his own senses as he notices Yeha getting bigger. Calm and collected, Yeha tells his enemy to be more confident because, he's definitely growing. Instead of releasing all his humanoid power at once to form an external body, he's using the vampire's incredible control over flesh and blood to slowly unleash his humanoid power inside himself. Suddenly, he morphs into a giant and slams a massive fist down on Yanting. With this trick, he's gained crazy speed and lightning-fast reflexes. Plus, his physical strength multiplies several times every second. That ground-shaking punch leaves Yanting defenseless, brutally slammed onto the arena floor, which cracks open beneath him. This showcase makes Yanting realize just how terrifying his opponent truly is. He always thought his own bloodline was monstrous, but next to Ye-Hei, it's nothing. His bones can't hold up against our guy's power anymore, and looks like he'll need to retrain. For now, though, he needs to escape. Dodging the heavy punch, he leaps into the air and switches tactics, relying on speed instead of brute force, but Ye-Hei won't let him slip away, turning sharply to chase after his opponent. That's got Yanting boiling mad. Right away, his body tightens as flames burst out, engulfing him completely. The crowd starts yelling, pumped because this fiery energy literally flips the whole vibe of the fight. Yanting's move here can seriously take down our guy. But hey, who's stopping a raging bull? Fire energy spheres swirl around, and the Blazing King smacks these down with his Blazing Sun demon hand. These fiery orbs completely surround our guy's Godzilla-sized form. Still, Yeha stays cool because he plans to use this chance to test his newly invented martial skill. With that, Yeha unleashes his ultimate attack, the heaven-bombing dragon cannon. Suddenly, a massive fireball streaks down from the sky, and Yeha lifts his hand, now shaped like a Godzilla mouth, shooting a powerful nuclear beam that swallows the fireball whole. Yanting is left stunned, realizing he might be done for. Just then, after losing control, Yi reverts to his original form, scratching his head as a figure appears before him, reminding him he's gone too far this time. The principal descends, arriving just in time to save Yanting. The old man was on his way to check out this epic fight, but instead found this chaos. Laughing a bit, Yi says it's no surprise without the principal on stage. The tournament just isn't the same. So, he asks the principal for a favor this one time. With a sigh, the principal realizes Yi has been teasing his teacher, Gong Kei, who always called him dull. So now, the principal decides to back his tournament personally and declares if anyone still wants to challenge Yi, no one dares speak up after witnessing all the destruction and the main guy's insane power. And just like that, the principal announces our boy the winner. Yiho stands proudly as the announcement booms through the arena, declaring Yiho the champion, who took on all the martial masters of the school alone, an event that will make his name legendary forever at Imperial.